You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Right. Truly an honor to be here today. It's, you fast forward, it's year 5 for us here at Oregon and year 3 in the Big Ten. So being a part of this conference has been unbelievable. I told our players the other day, sat down with a few of them. I said, I want you to think back to 365 days ago and what's different about you today than where you're at today.
Incredibly busy few months for us up in East Lansing and fired up for 7 days from now to get going in training camp. I feel really great about our staff and our young men heading into the season. Michigan State's a special place. You can achieve championships and get a great degree from a great school, and we're looking forward to taking this program back to where it belongs at the highest level.
It's more of an honor today than it ever has been for me to stand up here after 10 years at Ohio State, 8 years now as the head coach, to represent our program, to represent the Ohio State University, represent the great state of Ohio and all of our fans. It's a very, very special place, and I understand that more and more every year.
We said, you got to prove it now. We got to put our money where our mouth is. And we're not, no offense, proving it to the media or the external or our fans. We got to prove it to ourselves. We're exactly who we say we want to be. That's the crack on the shoulder, proving it to yourself. You're exactly who you say you are. Versus the chip, proving it to everybody else that you're good enough.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's White DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. I'm just kidding. That's Austin Jacobsen. Austin, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. I feel good. I just I got to meet Juan from chat yesterday.
Did you?
He caught me in a big back activity though.
Oh, no.
It's kind of tough.
What were you big backing?
Well, notably, Dr. Fiance has been on overnights.
Yeah.
For the past couple of weeks. I think we're wrapping up here. This last weekend is her last. So I've been doing my normal routine and whatnot, but I was getting, I think, back from the gym, and I thought to myself, what deals could I get on food that I wouldn't normally be able to eat if my fiance was home? So I just scrolled all the pizzas, and Domino's having 50% off pizza.
Dude, Domino's is pretty good.
Yeah. And so I thought, okay, we'll keep it easy. Just get a small pizza just for myself. We'll be fine. And
Juan says, bro, White DB is low-key ripped.
And so I go into the Domino's, I pick up my order, and I'm walking out, and this guy he was in front of me in the line, is getting into his car, just goes, AJ? And like nobody,
there's like 3 people that call you, and they all are.
Yeah. And I was like, who? I'm sorry, I don't know. And so then he hit me again. He's like, AJ. And I was like, I know you're talking to me because it's only us in this parking lot.
But I don't know who
you're talking about. And he hit me a third time, and I just walked over to him, and I was like, I'm sorry, do I know you? And he goes, oh, I heard you say your name at the line. You're from the podcast. I was like, that's me. There's a unique experience being told, hey, you're the guy from the podcast, which was great. And Juan was awesome. Found out he's from Scotts Bluff, which sucks for him, but, Western Nebraska
guy.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's definitely not as bad as Alliance, which is whatever, its own thing. But yeah, it was cool. Found out we had a couple of mutual connections from UNK, so that was fun.
Is that the first time you've been recognized from our show?
So the first time was actually, I think, the first year that I started working here. And I think I just started doing like a couple of random one-offs with you when Damon was out. I think it was for state football.
Okay.
And that was well before, like I was doing the podcast stuff from behind the scenes, and we were like a very much different setup, and we didn't have the voice from heavens that we could do now. But some guy stopped me at a baker's and said, are you from Damon Benning's show? And I was like, yes, that is me.
Look at you.
Yeah. And that was cool. So that was the first year. So right now we're about on a 1.5 year gap of people recognize me from the show. So we're got to shrink that a little bit.
Once every 18 months.
Ooh, you famous.
All right, Radio Rico. I want to hear it from you.
I don't get recognized from this show. I still get recognized from my old job.
That's good.
Emphasize on radio. That's because you're not really ever on camera. I think that's part of it.
That's fine.
I'm just saying. That's part of the appeal.
Maybe if you just shout your voice like from Walmart intercom systems, people would recognize you more.
Somebody recognized me from my voice at the children's zoo like 2 years ago, and I didn't know what to do.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I used to have that problem when I was in
because I was yelling at my kids, and he's just like, "Hey, I know that voice," and I was like, "What?"
Only as the angry Rico, the angry dad Rico.
You just got to go around saying something wildly inappropriate, and they'll be like, "Is that Rico from the show?"
There we go.
Oh, Jalen Brunson, I love you. What a pull!
Wow. How many other Ricos do you have?
I forgot that I did that. And I was like biting the blanket.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. I was like the what at the end because it makes me think that Ravi is saying it now, and so then I always have to check.
That's how I feel every time we get the Sasha. It's fine. Do you remember what that's from?
No.
So do you remember the Glazing Your Own Donut show?
Oh yes, yeah. When all of our power went out and we had to do it from upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, we went on because for some reason I was running back through my TikTok and that's on there, and we're doing this whole thing and all the chats giving us their euphemisms for glazing your own donut. And at some point we land on moist for some reason. I'm
That
like,
sounds about right.
Sasha, does that bother you? And she goes,
It's fine.
"That's exactly well timed, Shane. You're on it today.
Shane, you're crushing it.
Look at you, Shane-o.
Wow.
All
We're
right.
just missing Damon, or we'd have an elite show going right now. It's tough, but we will get Damon.
Yeah, Damon is in Chicago. He is at Big Ten Media Days, but he will be joining us for the 8:00 hour. Kind of give us the lay of the land from out there. We'll talk to him for about an hour at 8:00. So he will be here. Don't worry. But you got me in Austin today. I do have a little bit of breaking news.
Oh, let's hear it.
So Millard North. That's why I'm wearing the hat today. Roll Stangs. Their baseball coach coming off of a state championship, Bob Lovick. He took the job at Iowa Lakes Community College. So congrats to Bob on moving into the junior college, the community college level.
Where's Iowa Lakes? Is that the Bogie one?
I think so, yeah. Maybe that's the appeal. Maybe it's the beachfront property.
That's very funny. I have a friend that works in athletics there.
So congratulations to Coach Lovick, as you know, appreciate the state title and congrats on moving on.
Honestly, way to go out, right?
Oh,
if you're gonna go out,
absolutely.
Yeah,
just
go
like
that way.
Hey, and listen, I respect the hustle of leveraging that into a new job, like into a promotion. Like, good for you, bud. But that meant Millard North needed a new baseball coach, and I have been informed as of this morning that baseball coach is Jeff Wellwood, who was previously the head baseball coach at Creighton Prep. He's a 98 Prep grad, and he will be the new baseball coach at Millard North.
So you don't think it's like a wolves in the henhouse situation? You don't think that he's intentionally coming to Millard North from Creighton Prep to try to, downgrade the Mustangs from their title runs?
I view it more as like when Trinidad Chambliss went from Division II to the SEC.
That's mean.
That's how I feel. Like he's moving up in the world. You
just called Creighton Prep Division II one of the premier baseball institutions in our state.
Not last year.
Wow. Wow.
No, it's a good program. Jeff is a Creighton Prep grad from 98. He did rejoin Creighton Prep just in time to get that belt from 2005 Millard North. So that was
that belt.
Well, I'm just, that team kind of did that to everybody. It's not his fault,
You are on one.
It's like his second year there. But no, I'm excited. Jeff is a great guy. He is
You gonna have him on the show?
Yeah.
Talk about it?
He's not he was not the head coach at Prep. He was at Prep under the head coach, Pat Mooney. But yeah, I'm excited. Maybe we'll have him on the show. We'll talk to Jeff about about coming over to Millard North and continuing the legacy.
What a great bit just to bring on every new Millard North coach that comes in.
I listen.
Fantastic.
That might just be the entire show. Just we only talk to Millard North coaches from now on.
Millard North Live.
Yeah, just love it. Hurrdat Sports Live, brought to you by Millard North Mustangs.
I got a text yesterday from someone asking me about my thoughts on Sydney football, and I was like, I have some thoughts, but I'm also 6.5 hours away, so it's not like I'm going to practice. I don't really know what to tell you. They said, "Oh, I thought you'd be the insider," and I was like, "Brother, I live in Omaha. What do you want me to say?"
You can only do so much. You can only do so much. I did get to go to some practice this week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Creighton basketball
Creighton
practice.
basketball practice.
Yeah, so. We'll save that for later. But
okay, fair.
No, there's a lot. Jacob and I are going to talk about it later.
Oh, whoa!
I think
when is later?
I think next week we're going to do a little post live show, a little extra tidbit for people that want to get the scoop. Great
thing to tell your producers. Thanks for sharing.
Well, we haven't scheduled it yet, so we'll figure it out.
Even better. That'd be great. I'm sure it works in our schedule whenever you guys are available.
Well, that's why we were gonna check with you.
That's great.
That's why it's not on the schedule yet.
That's great, man.
We need to make sure that all of our intrepid producers are available.
He's going to check with us after he gets it scheduled.
Yes.
That's not true.
Well, it also depends on what time Jacob wakes up. So,
there is that.
Anytime. It could be literally any time between 11 a.m. and 3 a.m. So there is any potential in there.
Alec, we do need to schedule the listener draft. We do.
Yeah, we have the listener draft. Are we doing the college football quarterback draft?
I believe so. Yeah, we're going to do the quarterback draft, and we've got about a month. We've got about a month to get this in, so I think we can arrange that.
Austin, we got to do the quarterback draft so Ravi can get that belt.
That is true. Are they going to separate us? Are you going to have to separate us this year because we were too good last year?
No, absolutely. You guys can run it back as champs. I'm not going to do that to you.
Yeah. Remember when Tim was telling us that Dante Moore was like not going to be the starter? That's always so funny to me.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Speaking of Tim.
Yeah, Tim Verghese.
Yeah. You go to Des Moines often or been around the area?
I've been to Des Moines several times. I don't try and make a habit of it, but I'm familiar with the area.
Did you ever go to Bebop's, the local fast food chain?
No.
Okay. Never mind. Then that doesn't
It's
apply.
called Bebop.
Bebop's. It's like B-Bop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, not everything is Runza. It's basically just like a burger chain,
Okay.
and it's got shakes and stuff. I think it's bad.
Okay.
But he tweeted as if it was like God's light from heaven coming down on DSM, which I don't believe is true. But I sent him the meme of the guy going to him, and he immediately sent it back within like seconds. He goes, "What's going on? What happened? What did I miss?" And so I just wanted to see if maybe I've been wrong. He told me it's been delicious every time he's went. I have not had the same experience. I've went a few different times at different places, had the same experience. It wasn't for me.
I'm going to be honest. It looks like it's not for me. I'm looking at pictures here. First of all, the cut of the fry doesn't look like it's for me.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. I don't like the fries.
And
the burger was burnt every time that I had it. It was very tough.
I don't think Bebop's is in any danger of becoming a sponsor anytime soon out there in Des Moines.
Unless we travel to the Creighton, Iowa game.
I'm just saying if the picture of your burger online doesn't look appealing to me, that's probably the best it's ever going to look, right?
That is, yep.
So that's a problem.
That's on a stage.
Yeah, and probably not even a real burger. Like that's probably, there's probably some spray, paint and whatever going on there.
Spray
like they do. I don't know.
Glue.
Glue. They kind of like, pretty it up. That's maybe even photoshopped a little.
That's what I'm saying.
That doesn't look appealing.
I'm just saying.
That looks like a burger you would get like out of a frozen, you know what I mean?
Like almost the White Castle-ish.
Yeah, but like a full size. You can go to Costco and get like the full size burger and whatever. I
don't trust those.
I don't either.
Now,
especially when bun is included.
Yes. Oh, with the bun. Oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
That's what White Castle does. Like they've got like the bun included.
When they freeze them?
I think so.
Whoa. Yeah, no.
At least they.
I would never
okay,
do that. I would never do that.
I might be having like a Mandela effect moment here. I'm pretty sure when I was in high school, my buddy used to get these. His mom would buy them for us, and I think they came with the bun. You just cooked the whole thing.
Oh my God, they do.
Right? So that's horrifying.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, you can't have the bun and the meat frozen together.
I understand the process. Like if you want the White Castle, they're like, hey, you can have all this. It's frozen. It's not going to be a regular White Castle. But I guess I understand the thought process behind it, but it's just not for me. That's like going to the gas station where they have the burgers and everything that are in the fridge.
Yeah.
And you can pull out and just microwave in their nuclear microwave that is inside of the gas station. It's not for me.
I'm not a So I don't mind gas station food.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Okay. Like I'll enjoy a gas station hot dog.
There are tiers.
Yeah, for sure. I like certain places gas station pizza. Like I'm willing to eat and try gas station food. I don't understand the microwaving the food at the gas station. Like the stuff that's not cooked.
Okay.
Like you'll
go
get
further.
Like, some people will like they have burritos that you can get and like cook at the gas station in the microwave.
Instead of them having a heat lamp or something like that, you just like take it. Yeah.
I've seen that happen. I'm like, this is weird. I don't want to microwave stuff at a gas station.
You were a power lifter. Do you ever take your food to a gas station and heat it up?
No.
I've seen that many times.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
I bring their lunch in and we'll heat it up.
I would eat I've eaten cold chili out of a can before.
That is true. Yeah, you're kind of gross.
To avoid, like if I just don't have access to a microwave, or if I do have access to a microwave, but it's a sketchy microwave, like at the place you were at yesterday, that I don't know what it's like now, but that microwave used to be sketchy.
That one?
Yeah. That's
I haven't looked at that microwave.
Specifically that one.
Put my hand in there today. We'll see what happens.
You might not get it back. You might have a Chernobyl hand.
Listen, it is funny when you go to your friend's house. There's two things. If you go to somebody else's house, relative, no matter what, or if you're just Airbnb and Verboing or whatever.
Sasha, just get the food that's already cooked. That's my point. Like they cook the food at the gas station for you.
What does Sasha have?
She said, what about the people who work outside who don't have another option? I'm sympathetic to that. A, you can have cold food options, or B, get the food that's already cooked. That is my
Have
point.
you ever eaten one of those?
No, it freaks me out. I don't like it. Not a fan.
Rico,
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Oh, you're a microwave gas station guy.
They're pretty good.
Well, that
It's
makes sense.
fine.
He's on the bathroom for 30 minutes in the middle of the show. That
I was
adds up.
gonna say, he's like,
No, it's been a while, but the last time I had it, it's pretty good.
big stain guy.
Yeah. Listen, you,
Yesterday,
me, and Divorced Dad Rock. We could
love it. I love it.
have a heyday.
We're gonna have a whole show.
I'm just waiting for a new concert set list to come out for like next year because
Oh.
we are on a desperate I need an IV filled of Creed
I know.
for like sometime in 2027.
Austin and I have not been to a Creed concert together yet. Part of that's
Yes,
on.
you bailed on me.
Part of that's on me.
Ouch.
I drank 30 beers.
That's totally on me.
That's totally on me.
That sounds like a great time.
But I am.
I don't
waiting
mean that
for them
ironically.
to come back to Omaha so that we can enjoy a Creed concert together.
Bebop's is just okay. Being from Des Moines.
Oh,
Oh, thank
yeah,
you. Yes,
Shane would
Shane.
know.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Shane, what do you think of the shakes? The shakes are the calling card, right, of Bebop's?
I believe so. But
Okay.
I mean, it every time I go back to Des Moines, it never I never go back thinking I got to go to Bebop's.
Mm.
God, Shane, I forgot you were. a
When I
guy.
go to Iowa,
it's very Bronco. How about that? It's more like Broncos.
I liked Broncos.
So if there
though, a
there
lot.
were like 30 Broncos in Omaha,
Yeah.
that's what Bebop's is.
I was a big fan of Broncos actually.
I
Though,
am
when
too.
we went, I was impressed.
And I don't know. Have we said this on the show about our Broncos shake experience? I know we talked about it.
Oh, that thing was thick.
Basically, that shakes. If you have a shake at your fast food restaurant,
Mhm.
I don't give you credit for having it. But if it's like an elite one, I will give you credence for it.
Yeah.
Because shakes are hard to not be good.
Yes.
They're ice cream.
It's hard to
melted
mess
ice
up.
cream.
It's hard to
Like,
mess up. Yeah. He's from. I mean, you're from right outside Des Moines, right, Shane?
Waukee?
Yeah, Norwalk.
Norwalk.
Norwalk. Yeah, you got the walk right.
Yeah, there you
You were
go.
close.
But we used to live in Waukee as well.
Hitting the walk.
I'm a big. If I'm going to Iowa and I'm going Steak and Shake, 100% of the time.
There's a steak and shake.
I don't know if it's in Des Moines. It might be in Iowa City, but there's a Steak and Shake in Des Moines or in Iowa.
There's a steak and shake in Council Bluffs.
What? Is that new?
I think there is. Oh, never mind. Nope. There, it's
Don't
same colors.
think that you don't know.
Yeah,
It's the
really-
Quaker steak and lube.
That's a very different thing. How dare you?
I apologize. It's the green.
Imagine you carried that, and Ravi goes,
I
"Hey,
got
for lunch,
so
we're going
excited.
across the border,"
I got so excited.
and then we showed up at the steak and lube.
That would have been hilarious.
You would have been getting the lube, buddy.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's such a wild thing to say. You'd have been getting the lube, buddy.
That's not even.
Somebody get Brian.
I told myself this morning, I was like, think before you talk. I was like, take it slow.
So the Steak and Shake is in Coralville, which is just outside Iowa City. So that's
Coralville's in the Quad Cities. Coralville is where all the hotels are, so that way you don't have to stay in Iowa
yes,
City.
you don't have to go into
Yes.
Iowa City. It's like the part of it's like the suburb of Iowa City
Yeah.
that I don't mind going to
Yes.
before I actually have to get into.
You can
Iowa
get to
City.
Kinnick in about 10 or 15 minutes. There's a straight shot with like a bunch of grouping hotels that are up there. But yeah, Coralville's fine.
When
I don't think I'm going to Iowa City this year. This will be the first time in
You don't think so?
a couple of trips that I won't go. Yeah.
I think I'm going to go to Champaign this year.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
listened to your hit with Evan yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I don't recognize your voice over the phone.
Really?
No.
It sounds a lot different.
Yeah. Now, your Raviisms come out every once in a while. Like when you get talking about something you definitely dislike, like Pat Fitzgerald, I was like, oh, that is Ravi. But when you started and you're just hitting generic, I think like Luke Fickle's on a hot seat. I was like, okay, this could be literally anybody.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
But for whatever reason, as soon as you start talking about someone you don't like, there he is. I found him.
Well, listen, they sometimes they want different things from me, you know? They sometimes they want the Raviism, sometimes they want the sometimes they just want the facts.
It was very funny in the middle of that when they asked the producer, what did they ask him? Just asked, do you know who that is? And he just goes, no, I've never heard
Kirk
of him.
Ferentz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I've never heard of him.
I don't understand their producer or their intern situation at all.
It was very funny.
Did you listen to him intro me?
No.
Oh yeah,
I was skipping through because you were like in the halfway point of it.
he did like a whole intro, and this is on 93.5 The Drive out in Champaign, Illinois.
We love radio.
It was he did this sort of, I think it was his first like bringing somebody back from break ever. And so they like let him do it as the intern. But I was very confused. It doesn't seem like he likes sports. I'm like, why are you working there? It was so strange. But good for him. Good for Pierre or Pierce. I don't remember his name.
I think it was P something.
Yeah, it was P something.
Not Diddy, that's for sure.
It was P something.
Pierre.
Pierre.
It might have been Pierre or Pierce.
Pier?
Pierre.
Like a boat pier?
No, like P-er, like someone who pees.
Or
Pier?
Peer, as in like someone that is close to age of you or you work with.
Yeah.
Peer.
Oh, this is my peer. Austin.
Neither one of those are better.
What do you mean?
What? Then what, Rico?
It's better than
Pierce? Pier?
Pierce. It might be Pierce.
Is it Pierce?
I said
The
Pierce.
P1
You said
town?
no.
Fierce Pierce, I think is what they call him.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun though. I like talking to him. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Champaign and do
Friday night.
Yeah, do a little Friday road trip right after the show. Get out there.
You're gonna get there right at game time.
I'll be all right.
They have a kickoff. I assume it's like 6 or 7.
Hopefully it's 7. That'll give me.
You're gonna watch Bielema give him the belt?
Nah.
How's Brian saying it yesterday?
He needs his belt.
Bielema. How did Brian say it?
Bielema.
Yeah, it caught me off guard a couple of times.
It did.
Yeah, whatever.
Listen, maybe that's the traditional pronunciation.
Maybe that's the way he's supposed to say it. Listen, I trust Brian more than anybody when it comes to pronunciation.
100%.
Like your new coach, he's from Creighton Prep.
He is.
BC rocks.
I'm just glad that he got out of such a toxic situation there at Prep. I'm just
okay.
I'm just kidding.
You need to stop.
Genuine question. You guys, you're from Belleville West, Millard North. I'm just, a humble farmer from Western Nebraska.
Rancher more, right?
I can yes, rancher. Thank you. I can understand the private school versus public school. I get all that with like the Creighton Prep. Do people still not like Creighton Prep that way? Because they had I know that their athletics was so good for a very long time. They're very dominant. It's easy to hate people that are winning. But what does that linger now? Like, do people just have like a disdain for Creighton Prep, or is that something else?
For me, it's more like an underlying, just like, man, it's Prep. I don't dislike them the way that I used to when they were really, really good at everything. And certainly when you're in high school, Prep was probably the team we liked the least, but it was also the team that we ran into the most in like state playoffs and stuff.
They were the ones to go through, kind of.
I mean, we were the ones to go through, but they were the ones in the way. I mean,
wow.
I'm just saying. I think we played them in a couple of straight state title games in football and baseball. So like they were just always sort of there. And so that obviously ratchets up the animosity. The private school thing doesn't really bother me now.
Although it is fun just to say beat Prep. There's something very easy about it, right?
Like I don't like Prep, but my vitriol now is more pointed towards Millard South for sure.
I mean, that makes sense.
But
they share your name.
Well, yeah, it's the local district rival, and like we never really liked Millard South, but they weren't ever a threat when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of like, it kind of is what it is. You didn't, it's like, it's like in the mid 90s when Oklahoma was bad at Nebraska, and you're like, yeah, we don't like Oklahoma, but they are not good, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about Millard South at the time, where Prep was probably closer to Colorado in the mid 90s for Nebraska, where it's like, hey, they're pretty good and they're going to be in your way a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't really have that same vitriol now. Like, it's just kind of, I don't like them, but it's sort of like, I don't know, they're over there doing their own thing.
The opposite of how you felt, the Millard South part of that is pretty much how Sydney was. That we were like, we don't like you guys. And they're like, okay.
Like, easy, little brother.
That's what it felt like. They just pat us on the head constantly. And you knew about it.
Channel 3 Sean says Prep is like the Illuminati. They run everything in Omaha.
It simply can't be true. There's just no way.
Who said? Somebody said Prep sucks and will always suck throughout time.
See, this is what I'm talking about. That I'll go to. It happens at two distinct places, and I can understand one of them a little bit more because it's more tied to how I was in high school, and I can understand it with Scott because Class B and Scott, a lot of people would point towards, because Class B sometimes you get a little more rule, right? You've got the Waverleys, the Norrises, you've got. Some of these other Class B programs like Scotts Bluff obviously feels that way. And when you play Scott, it's like, oh, we're playing the entire city of Omaha. That's how it feels when you're the rural school playing Scott. And when I go to Scut games, I feel how much other Class B programs do not like Scut because they are Scut, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. I do like Scut. I mean, notably, they always treat me very well. I like going there. All that good stuff.
I have friends that coach over there.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind Scut, but they're also Class B. So like I never had to deal with them in high school.
Right.
So that's a big difference.
But then on the Creighton Prep side, I just get it. Like I've seen at state soccer in different places. People just walk in. They're just like, F prep. Okay, sorry.
Ken says prep was doing NIL before anybody ever thought of NIL. I don't know. Allegedly, I'm not making allegations here. I really like I think if I was a Class B school, Scut would bother me more than Prep bothers me as a Class A school.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being Lexington and you're playing Scut in the
first
round of the football playoffs, right? You're just like, okay, why are we playing an Omaha school? That's it's a misperception from both sides.
And a private Omaha school, you probably feel like you're up against it a little bit. So
the thought with Prep was that they were just bringing in all of the best players from Omaha to play for their teams. But also
the recruiting thing for Prep. That
I agree with Dante in the chat is that
they are good at other sports. Yeah,
they weren't at the time. They were for me. I didn't really obviously played football, but we weren't very good at the time. So I didn't really care about football, but in track, I had absolutely no cares about Creighton Prep because they sucked.
I agree with Kobe. I'm a big Coach Juergens guy. Yeah, terrific. Coach Turman's fantastic.
I'm notably a huge fan of Damon Day. I mean, I like all of Scott. I mean, there are people from home that will send me videos of me doing an interview with somebody from Scott, whether it's a player or coach. They'll be like, man, I can't stand watching this.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't control that. They keep winning. Sorry. I don't know.
I can't ignore the team winning state.
Yes.
That is
now it is very funny.
Just beat them and I won't have to interview them.
It is very funny because even during state basketball last year, I very notably kept myself away from a lot of the Scottsbluff stuff. I was like, this is a bridge too far. I cannot.
Is that why you sent me there?
Yes. That's exactly why.
Rico, I need you to cover Scottsbluff.
When they upset, did they beat Norris? Who did they beat? Or they beat Scott, didn't they? No, they beat Norris.
They beat Norris. Yeah,
they beat Norris, and you got this excellent interview with Nate Kelly with all the fans behind him.
Yeah.
I was like, Western Nebraska, but I was like, thank God I didn't have to do that interview. Oh my God, I can't stand Scottsbluff. I like their coaches and they're good people, and Nate Kelly is like one of my favorite Scottsbluff kids, but God, I hate them. They're the worst.
I asked him after the interview off camera. I said, so I wasn't even supposed to be here. We have a guy from Sydney that usually does this, but he didn't want to do this. Do you have anything you want to say to him? And he just smiled and laughed.
That's what I'm saying, man. The first year that I was with Preps at state basketball, Scottsbluff won their first game. I think they went all the way. I think they were runners up. So I got to talk to their coach a few times. And the coach right away was like, I recognize you from somewhere. Are you from the Panhandle? And I said, yeah, well, I'm from Sydney. And I actually had the camera running. And he pushes me. He just pushed me. And I was like, I'm posting that. You're not getting away with this, buddy.
That's assault, brother.
No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I like him. He's good, I think. Yeah.
Coach Lloyd says that Scott's putting in a indoor track. So he's a
that's
sick.
Crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah,
between Westside, Scott, and I'm trying to think. There's somebody. We got a message in our preps chat about it yesterday. I think Duchenne has a new girls facility that's going up too. Yeah, so all that's really cool.
Is anybody looking for a hurdle coach?
It could be you. Are you going to coach your kids
if they want to do track? Yeah.
What do you mean if you're gonna make them do soccer?
Force them.
Mom doesn't want them to do track.
Be a helicopter dad.
What, because of the concussions? Like what's the deal?
No, she's just like, track is boring. And I go, it's beautiful.
Track is a tough sport as a parent.
Yeah.
Because you're there like all day and your kid actually participates for like a couple minutes. Like track is tough for a parent. Like track, swim meets, wrestling, dance recitals. Like if your kid's a dancer, there's some sports that your kids can get into that are tough.
Did you say soccer? I think soccer's up there too. I'm thinking tournament style. Like what's going to eat up your weekend?
Soccer will eat up your whole weekend. At least your kid's playing for like 2 hours. They're like an hour and a half.
And there's always movement, right?
But it will, like, soccer famously is like, hey, yeah, we had to drive 6 hours to play a team that's 30 minutes from us. Like that's a very common thing in soccer. So soccer is tough for different reasons, but in terms of just like spending your whole day to barely watch your kid do anything, like there's some rough ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a guy a couple weekends ago that was his kids all swam pretty competitively and like went and swam in college. And he was like, yeah, it's I would never suggest anyone let their kids swim.
Swimming and wrestling are kind of the same in terms of how it all goes out, because there's only so much they can do at one time. And you're all stuck in the same gym watching the same things happening at the same times. And you're just waiting for your athlete to go for this brief window. And then it's done. And they may have another event or they may not. And then it's pretty much over.
Yeah.
There are some kids that will specialize in one event in swim. They'll do the 100-meter freestyle.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Same thing for
They're
track,
done.
right? Like
Yeah.
you have a specialty. And I know in high school it's a lot more common that people will do multiple things, but especially if you like specialize in something and if that's at the end of the day, like that's a crappy day for you if you're a parent. Like that's rough.
I can sit at a track meet all day. It's fine.
Yeah, because you were an athlete. You're
just built different.
I love it.
Hashtag
Unless my kids aren't gonna be throwers. All right. They're not gonna have the height for high jump. So they're probably gonna hopefully they get my speed. They can sprint.
Nate Robinson can jump, can't he?
That's different.
Good jumper.
What do you mean that's different?
That's different.
What? You're about the same height.
That's different.
Why is it different?
Actually,
He's like a muscle hamster.
you might be taller.
So are you.
No, I'm not. Nate Robinson's like he is not 5'5".
Rico,
Spud Webb was 5'5".
Rico,
Spud Webb is 5'6".
I have seen you pull every muscle in your body. I know that they're there.
Yeah. All right. Damn it.
Nate Robinson's allegedly 5'9". That dude's not taller than 5'7". Not a chance.
Yes, he is.
5'8" with shoes on. 5'8" with shoes on.
Chance.
Spud
5'9".
Webb was 5'6".
He was
And
guarding
he's
belly buttons.
I
Like
think
much taller than
belly
Spud Webb.
buttons.
I think was he 5'6"? Spud Webb?
Or was it Muggsy Bogues?
Muggsy Bogues was 5'3".
Ooh, one of the Monstars.
Spud Webb is 5'6" allegedly, but I think that's in shoes. So he's probably like 5'4".
Okay, so high jumps out. So all your kids are track athletes, Rico. Build your perfect track meet.
One of them hurdles. One of them is doing horizontal jumps, whether it be long or triple. Is all three of them are doing track?
Yeah. I don't think he understood the question.
No.
Okay.
What do you?
I like where this is going. I like where this is
Go
going.
ahead.
No, keep
What's
going.
the other one doing?
The other one is doing sprints.
Okay.
Like 1, 2. The one that hurdles is also doing 400 hurdles.
I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't watch a long distance runner. I wouldn't. No, like
That's
that would
tough.
that's
I don't want
that's
that.
a tough hang. I'm not.
If they are, then props to them. I really hope they're not.
Yeah, that's like, hey, mom can watch you on this one. I'm gonna go.
Because then I got to go to a cross country meet also.
See,
That's
I
what
was
I'm
going to say, in Uncle Ravi's best perspective, state track, comes about, and the old Alvarez Clary family is out. You've got a bunch of different athletes competing. They're all J1 event 1, because then he goes, yay, Rico's kids, and then he's
And
out
then leaves. Yeah.
If you think,
And then he catches a whiff of Millard North. He goes, oh,
Hey, go to the Mustangs.
roll Saints,
No,
roll Saints.
we're anything 400 and below. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, the 1600 is pretty rough, Brandon. I agree with that. TK says, I love when short people do steeplechase. They end up like chest deep in the water. That water's way deeper than it looks.
I wasn't going to say
That's why you got to go to the edge. You can't. Nobody jumps into the middle of it unless you fall.
I was like,
which
not
I've
on
seen.
purpose, but like sometimes it happens.
if all of your kids commit to UNK for steeple, are you going to each of the signing days, or do you peter off after the third?
Nah, I got to go to all of them.
Okay. What if one signs to Bowling Green?
Hell yeah.
Big Bowling Green track.
Wearing all that orange and brown.
Get
Get out the Falcons.
Mrs. Alvarez Clary checks
no.
in the chat. She goes, I absolutely did not say they can't do track because I don't like it. Enrique is a liar.
It's a first in Hurrdat Sports Live history that your wife is pro us for the very first time.
And she
That's crazy.
full government first name, Enrique.
That's wild.
Damn.
Does she usually call you Rico or Enrique?
No, she doesn't call me Rico at all.
Does she call you radio at home?
No, she doesn't.
That got Shane.
Juan, one sec. Apparently, we're just doing whatever. Juan says, Ravi, question from yesterday. Which one of you guys would be best at landing a commercial plane? Not me, because I don't even like riding in planes that much. So I would not be good landing a plane because I would be out of my mind on Xanax because that's how I fly. So you don't want me flying a plane. You don't want me trying to land a plane in those conditions. Although I would stay pretty cool under pressure because I would be zonked out of my brain.
Braun.
Out of my brawn too.
Rico?
I'm landing that plane.
Okay. See, I think out of uttermost like confidence of someone who's just going to take the wheel and, pray, I think it's probably Rico. I would be very fearful for Shane because he would have us all in there and he'd go, okay, what do I do? He'd be like, Shane, this is your moment to shine.
There's way too
Shane,
in there.
I don't know.
None of us know.
Rachel says not pro Ravi or Austin, just calling out a lie.
That's just simply not true.
She never said the kids couldn't do track. She just always makes fun of track.
You're the one who told them they can't do track. You tell them
I want them to do track.
And you say, you're not good enough.
You're not good enough.
Okay, on my defense,
yeah.
If I said, what do I do? And you said, just land the plane, I would land the plane.
Bang. All right,
that's
Shane.
100% not true.
I actually, so
that's not true at all.
I do think it's Damon. And the reason why is because
he can't see.
No, well, I think the reason it's Damon is because he has absorbed so much knowledge through TikToks that somehow, some way, he has probably seen a TikTok of if you're in this situation, here's what you do. And I think his ability to retain information is elite. So
unreal.
I feel like he might actually be able to do that.
Also, he would like get competitive with it, and he'd be like, "There is 0% chance that we are dying today," and he would just figure it out.
He'd be like, "Denzel did this. I could."
Yeah, he's like, "I watched Flight 100 times. I got this."
He would be good on like a transcontinental flight because he's up all day anyway. So, that sort of thing would be good.
That's true.
Yeah.
He would, although the lack of sleep, the sleep deprivation could be a problem in general if you're trying to really lock in there. But I think the adrenaline would carry him through.
Well, listen,
I was going to say, he doesn't sleep, but do you think he's been up at night and some random show about landing a plane popped up?
Yeah,
definitely.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's definitely consumed the right information. He just has to like limitless find it in his brain somewhere,
It's back there.
Yeah, like I think the pressure of the situation would, like go through the Rolodex and find it for him. I do think out of everyone here, well, my first bet would honestly be Sasha.
Oh, for ranking,
like everybody that works here.
Everybody that works here, ranking Sasha
I think
first.
Sasha would be number one.
I would actually probably put Kyle.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Kyle's number one.
Well, okay. He has experience though, right?
I mean, he's
I don't know
worked in
exactly
survival situations, so I would assume that he probably has some reference or knowledge of it. Now, he would downplay it and be like, if we asked him right now, he'd just go, "Oh no, I wouldn't be able to do that." And be like, "Okay, Kyle."
Yeah, if I need somebody that's calm under pressure, I'm picking Kyle.
Yes, I'd probably pick Kyle.
Fair. I forgot about
It's time to sizzle into summer at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Turn up the heat on your next lease. This July, the savings are as hot as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at $449 a month. Don't wait. Sizzle into summer this July at Edwards Kia. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Kia.
Feeling tired? Foggy? Just off? At NextGen Male Medical Clinic, we offer hormone evaluations, peptides, supervised weight management for men and women. Most insurance accepted. Schedule a visit at nextgenmmc.com.
It's pretty easy to learn that when you spend time in the outdoors. The first couple of times you're just sitting there in the quiet, you're able to actually just sit there and be still and think about things. A lot of people don't like to sit and be still. We're busy with our phones, we're busy with our lives, our jobs, driving everywhere, running kids around. It's just sometimes it's nice to just be still in the outdoors, in the quiet, and just be alone with your own thoughts, and it's really peaceful.
Yeah. So you would say that's changed you as a baseball player?
Oh, 100%. You become a lot more, you gain a lot better perspective of what's important. And you just take a step back, realize what's important, clears your mind, maybe anxiety and pressure just kind of fade away. And you catch a big old fish, and that's pretty fun. Like it's fun to sit in the outdoors and just be still, but reeling in a big bass, oh my goodness, it's so much fun.
So Grand Slam or reeling in the biggest bass you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, probably hitting a Grand Slam, but reeling in a big fish or shooting a banded mallard is pretty sick.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I said at my press conference when I got introduced that toughness was born at Michigan State, and that's how we're going to play. We're going to play smart. We're going to play tough. We're going to play with discipline, and that's what we've been working on the entire offseason. Like I said earlier, I can't believe that camp starts in 7 days, and I can't wait to get back on the field with the guys. We've had a really productive offseason. Joel Welsh and our strength staff have been absolutely outstanding, and our guys have been working incredibly hard. The next phase obviously starts, and the fourth phase is probably the most important as we get into training camp.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. That was Pat Fitzgerald spouting more nonsense.
Yeah, see, again, you don't like him, and it's very obvious that it's you. Like, I could black out the screen. We could morph your voice,
What
and
the
I would
hell
I
does
would
that
know.
mean? Toughness was born at Michigan State. What does that even mean?
Don't even listen. You don't think that he said that at Northwestern too?
That's what
Toughness
I mean.
Was born everywhere.
It's nonsense. What is toughness?
I said at my press conference when I got introduced that toughness was born at Michigan State.
He practiced that line.
You think nobody okay? When was
and the
Michigan,
bag of chips line?
When was Michigan State founded?
I'm gonna guess 19.
No, it's definitely 1800.
When was toughness born?
Wow, that's a great question.
1837. So
Wow,
there
I was
were
way off.
0 tough people before 1837. That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
George Washington, not tough.
Well, there's simply no way to know.
Founding father, crossing the Delaware.
Pat Fitzgerald's the only one who would know. He's the only one who would
He's
know.
the only one that there's 0 tough people before 1837. That's what you're telling me, Pat Fitzgerald.
Want to know something?
What's that?
The word toughness was not recently added to the dictionary, which means it could have been added when Michigan State was founded.
There you go. Maybe they founded the word toughness. Maybe the thought, the attribute was credited earlier.
I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I think Pat Fitzgerald is full of it.
I will say
Also, is phase 4 the plan finding another magical defensive coordinator that carries you to wins, or what's the plan there? Is that LeVar Woods? Is that the special teams? Like, is that what he's doing?
Maybe. You don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it worked for Iowa.
It's a weird consensus from all of the media I consumed from yesterday about Michigan State was that there's this weird presumption that they will get better as the season goes on.
God, that's the second time I've agreed with Kobe today.
But as if that's not what everybody does.
I mean, not everybody.
There are some teams that regress, yes.
Yeah.
But when we're all sitting in preseason, I would assume that a team that starts in week 1 would get better by the time their season wraps up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the presumption. But yeah, everyone's like, you don't want to get Michigan State late. It's a good thing Nebraska gets them early.
Is their roster going to get better as the season goes on? Because that would be my real concern.
That's a good question.
That roster's not good. Like, I'm not saying.
Well, they don't have anybody that's notable playmakers. They don't have a lot of offensive return.
Their own beat writer was like,
Yes.
this isn't the year. The roster's not awesome. You know?
I mean, defensively, they don't have anyone that's a stalwart or anyone that's a turnover machine or anyone that you can say is like a dynamic playmaker. I'm not like thrilled with the new defensive scheme that they are probably going to be implementing.
No, the only thing people like is that he hired LeVar Woods.
Yeah,
that's it.
If nothing else, they're going to be, I guess, a team that if they work cohesively, you can get a lot of things going. But yes, you're right. Like talent, detriment, all that sort of stuff. I don't think that they are a Big Ten roster as of right now, and I'm not going to try to project into the future. But I just find it so interesting how many people you're dynamically different than the rest. But there are so many people who just assume that it is going to work and that he is this program rebuilder, as if the Northwestern leash was not from a completely different time frame and that it was a unique leash that he was to be a part of because of his relationship, because of his status that he was at Northwestern and everything else.
And the expectations at Northwestern.
Yes.
Literally the losingest program in college football history now that Indiana has won like 30 out of their last 31 games or whatever, right? He's in such a different situation here where there's actual expectations, by the way. Like Jonathan Smith just got fired after, I think, 3 years.
Yep.
Who was a pretty good football coach, in my opinion. I don't know that they upgraded.
Well, and I mean, you want to talk about winning with less resources and a less talented field at Oregon State and then not having success at Michigan State. You're buying yourself you're rebuilding a rebuild. Like you piled on onto a dying pile. Like you're not doing anything to reset.
100%. And listen, I understand he got to 10 wins a couple times or 3 times, I believe, at Northwestern, which is phenomenal. I understand that. The highs were really good. The lows were also atrocious. Like 1-11 his last year, 3-9 the year before that, 3-9 2 years before that. Like he missed as many bowls, almost as many bowls as he made. Like it's not like he's Kirk Ferentz, right? It's not like he just came in here and was like every single year, just this is what Iowa is. I know Iowa bottomed out a few times, but like their level of consistency is unmatched. And then the timing of Hankwitz leaving and their incredible fall off is just too much for me to overlook. This dude has literally never won at a high level without Hankwitz as his DC. And listen, I get it's only 2 years versus like the 15 before that, but the 2 years were pretty damn bad in a way that is kind of stunning. Like literally the only coach he could beat his last year was Scott Frost. The only coach who did a surprise onside while up 10. I believe they were up 10. They're up 2 scores in Ireland because of God knows why. I think he was trying to get fired at that point. The dude gave up 40 some points to Georgia Southern like a week later. Like that's the only guy he could beat his last year in the Big Ten.
I think another thing that gets me more hesitant, and Damon did a great job of this yesterday, was talking a little bit more about Greg Schiano and the leadership and his confidence with Rutgers. I went back and I listened to Shiano was on the Barstool Pardon My Take podcast, and he did only 15 or 20 minutes with them.
Yeah.
But even with those guys who are mostly satirical, they'll get into some stuff, but most of the time they're going to try to, get more of a rise or a joke out of something. He insisted that the leadership from the top to the bottom was the first time that he had been at Rutgers, which has had a lot of success under him in different eras.
Especially the previous stop.
Yes. But he had said, finally, we have an entire unity leadership in line. Everybody is in the same line. We have people that are all going the same direction and stuff, which is part of another topic that we can talk about later with Nebraska and Ekeler and all that other stuff. But I don't trust the institution of Michigan State to be able to benefit from Pat Fitzgerald being there. And I'm not saying he needs, all this great support staff and all this other stuff, but everybody does.
Everybody does.
And I almost think that you're hiring Pat Fitzgerald in the sense of the name, the rebuild, all that sort of stuff that you saw him do at Northwestern. But Northwestern is also they're a pretty tight lock athletic staff and university as a whole, because they have to. They have such high academic standards. They have all these different rules and regulations that they have to follow for their student athletes, their students on campus, all that stuff, right? That's why they are Northwestern. And Michigan State, I don't know that I trust the institution to be able to support Pat Fitzgerald and what he needs. And I think the institution is relying on Pat Fitzgerald to be Michigan State. And I don't think that you can win that way, especially in college football and especially in the Big Ten. You're hoping that Tom Izzo is going to save you in the entire athletic department. He's clearly on his own amongst all the rest of that athletic department. It is the Michigan State basketball program could not be on a different world and plane than the rest of Michigan State athletics.
The rest of university. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing that I think people underestimate around the country is how much more Michigan State cares about basketball than football. Right? That Tom Izzo runs that university basically. That is, he's probably the most influential person at that university. And if it comes down to funding, Tom Izzo's getting that money, not Pat Fitzgerald. Right? And the other thing I think people overstate the rebuild of Pat Fitzgerald. Randy Walker had 3 straight 500 or better seasons before Pat Fitzgerald took over. 4 of his 7 seasons were 500 or better at Northwestern. It's not like he took over a Nebraska that was 10 straight years under 500. That's not what happened at Northwestern. They weren't terrible.
If you were to ask me, I would have said they were going 1-11 or 2-10 or something.
Gary
like that.
Barnett, so 10 years before Pat Fitzgerald took over, famously on a team that Pat Fitzgerald was on, Gary Barnett won 10 games, went to the Rose Bowl. This was not they weren't a great program. Don't get me wrong. But from the mid 90s on, they were largely functional. Now they had bad years. They had a couple 3-9s in there. But you're talking a lot of 6-6, 5-7, 7-5s, and then a couple years better than that. This is, I think people really overstate the rebuild job that Pat Fitzgerald did at Northwestern in the first place. And Sean brings up a really good point. I feel like he was kind of propped up because so many people in the media went to Northwestern.
Oh, yeah. Journalism school. That makes sense.
It's a pretty
fair.
famous
that makes sense.
journalism school.
That's
Syracuse.
Right. It's the same argument we have with the ESPN and the SEC.
Listen,
if you bleed purple.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. If you bleed purple, it makes sense that you are going to hyper-focus on the success or what you perceive success to be from your institution. That makes sense.
Let's be honest here. If any other high school baseball program hired a new coach today, we're probably not leading the show with it, right?
100% right. Yeah,
that's
100% right.
It is what it is, right? Accidentally, that's a very good example of what we're talking about with Pat Fitzgerald and media bias. I have a huge media bias towards Millard North.
Yeah.
Roll Stanks. We're doing that all day. Millard South hires new baseball coach. I'm I don't care. Get out of my face.
I'm going to ask you a question that you usually get to ask DB.
Okay.
So when it comes to, because one of your big gripes against Fitzgerald, and you mentioned it with the defensive coordinator, is that Fitzgerald doesn't have his identity, right? He has a perception, and he talked about toughness, and there's the grittiness of his old Northwestern teams, and they're going to get you. They're the ultimate, if you're coming off a bye week or you're peaking ahead, Northwestern is going to get you, that sort of stuff, right? But offensive identity is not what Pat Fitzgerald's known for. The defensive identity was tied, as we found out later, to his defensive coordinator, not to him. So why is it important that at this stop, if Pat Fitzgerald is going to have success at Michigan State, that he has to, as a head coach, have an identity that's outside of, we're going to be tough? Because everybody can be tough, right?
Everybody wants to be tough.
You can publicly say, we are going to be tougher than everyone else. But truthfully, I always feel like You need to have something that is your calling card, your identity, your whatever, that gets you through the tough moments in a college football season or when you're in January workouts, whatever the case is.
My question would be, what is the thing that Pat Fitzgerald is good at? Like, just plain and simple. What is the thing that you're like, that's his elite skill? I do this with like draft prospects too, especially in the NBA. I'm like, what's their elite skill? Because if you're just like, hey, he's really athletic, pass, right? That's not good enough in the NBA.
I think we do this with coordinators too.
Yeah.
Especially.
I do this with a lot of things, right? Is like, if you don't have one elite thing you're bringing to the table, and I think people thought it was culture with Pat Fitzgerald, but the way things ended at Northwestern would lead me to believe that may not have been the case, right? Like, whether you think he did anything fireable or not, clearly there was stuff going on there that was sketchy at best, right? So I don't know that I can hang it on culture builder. I obviously cannot hang it on defense. Like, I'm adamant that Hankwitz was the defensive mastermind there, not Pat Fitzgerald, and the results back me up. He's not an offensive guy. Like, he's not a talent accumulator, really. Like, he's not an elite recruiter from what we've seen. Like, yes, he got some good players at Northwestern, but if the thing holding him back was Northwestern in terms of talent accumulation, why was Michigan State not better in terms of the transfer portal this year? Right? Like, where was the talent acquisition this year for the transfer portal if it was just, hey, it was a Northwestern thing holding Pat Fitzgerald back in terms of talent accumulation? So I don't know that he's an elite talent accumulator. So what is the thing that he's awesome at? Every really good coach in the country, I can point to a thing that he's awesome at, right? Now, whether that works out for certain people or not, I don't know, but I can at least point to like, okay, Kirby Smart, culture builder, defensive genius, right? Easy. Kalen DeBoer, quarterback developer, offensive genius. Easy, right? Steve Sarkisian, elite play caller. Lane Kiffin, elite play caller, right? Like
Lincoln Riley, quarterback guru,
elite play caller, elite offensive designer, elite run game designer with the counters that DB talks about all the time. Like, pick a guy that's awesome. Kurt Signetti, elite talent evaluator. Might be the best talent evaluator I've ever seen in my life. I think great culture builder.
So do you, just to even play devil's advocate, do you not even give any credit to even the Matt Rhule stereotype of being like the CEO coach, where I am not a master of anything, I've been around the block, and he hasn't, Pat Fitzgerald,
to me, that has to be the culture builder part of it. Like, if you're a CEO, you have to build an elite culture. I actually think Matt Rhule has done a great job building an elite culture. I don't know if that will translate to what we want it to. I think it will, but that would be Matt Rhule's elite skill, is culture builder, right? I think he's done a great job. That's why he had the highest retention in the Big Ten in terms of players not leaving in a time where everybody leaves, right? Like, you can tell people like being here because of the culture Matt Rhule's built. What that relates to, I know he's got his detractors, that's fine. What that relates to in terms of wins and losses, I don't know, but that's the thing that Matt Rhule's great at, is culture builder. That's why everybody wants to stay at Nebraska, okay? Except Mike Ekeler, which we'll get to in here a second. But like, anybody in the country, I can tell you, any great coach in the country, I can tell you what they're awesome at. And there's a lot of coaches that are awesome at something that still don't turn out to be great head coaches. But I would give you that no coach has been good long term without being awesome at something at a high level. And I don't know what Pat Fitzgerald's awesome at. I have no idea. Maybe I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what he's awesome at.
I'm curious to find out what that looks like. What you just brought up about the Northwestern, the media ties, the journalism, all that sort of stuff. It'll be really interesting to see if he struggles at Michigan State, how many people still applaud him through tough times.
I mean, it's tough because as a player, he's still a Northwestern hero, but obviously his time there ended really poorly. I don't know if, I think he said, he has said he feels vindicated by the way the court proceedings and civil suits played themselves out. I don't know if that's how the alumni base feels about it. I think they like David Braun. I think David Braun's pretty good at this. And look at that. David Braun put in a horrible situation, winning more than Pat Fitzgerald did at the end.
It's true. And also at Michigan State, you can kind of slink away because you're not on a big national radar as you were a few years ago. Yeah. Like, even in their highest of highs with D'Antonio, they were never really
still kind of an after. Like, oh, they made a playoff in 2015. Yeah. Like, it's just kind of a, oh, Michigan State, that's nice. Like, oh, that's a pretty good team.
Most of that media is based out of Detroit. You can kind of get away with a lot of different stuff. I don't want to say get away. That's obviously not in the right term, but you
can fly under the radar. Yes, and it's going to be Michigan. It's going to be pro sports. Michigan State's an afterthought up there. that's why I think it's harder to recruit up there than maybe people give it credit for. I don't think it was just like hey, Pat Fitzgerald's not at Northwestern anymore. He can get whoever he wants. It's like, well, apparently not.
How long is his leash? Year-wise, what do you think?
I don't know. I thought Jonathan Smith would have a longer leash.
I thought so too. I think that they will give him a 3-year run. I think that he has like a 3-year runway, and I think that he gets into a 4th year.
That's
my thought.
If they don't make a bowl in the first 3 years, I think he's in a lot of trouble. All right, let's take a quick break here. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live. We'll be right back.
That experience was crazy, but it really worked out pretty easy here to choose Nebraska. Like it was definitely a tough decision moving out here far away from home. But it was great. I mean, I got married in the end of May, and so it was a crazy part of my life for sure, but it was also an awesome part. I think what drew me here was, every piece that I was trying to look for, team, chemistry, play style, coaching staff, everything like that. Like everything here in Nebraska is fantastic. And so that was really easy to just be blown away on that aspect. And so, yeah, just going through everything in the process of the portal, checking things off and making sure that I was making the right decision for me, but also for my wife. And so it worked out great, and we're super happy to be here.
It's time to sizzle into summer at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Turn up the heat on your next lease. This July, the savings are as hot as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at $449 a month. Don't wait. Sizzle into summer this July at Edwards Kia. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Kia.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
That we all have an estimated time of arrival. That hourglass is always moving, people. And it doesn't matter if you're a coach or a player in college football, in business, or in the media. It's always moving. So we put all these hourglasses all over our building to remind our players the estimated time of arrival, the season will be here. And it was a reminder to them that we better get moving. And not only get moving, you better enjoy the adventure. And that's what ETA stands for in our program. We will never take fun out of college football and the college football experience at the University of Minnesota. In fact, one of our best team meetings was we watched Artemis 2. Circle the moon. Crazy, right? Who would have thought? We watched that. And then we also showed a 1960s clip of John F. Kennedy say, we do things that are hard because it's there. Well, we've been teaching since January, whatever we want to accomplish as a team, it's there. So why not shoot for that moon? And that's what we're going to do.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by my regular co-host, one ODB. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
How we doing, man?
Oh, we're doing all right. Can you tell the fine folks what's in your fridge right now?
Wow. Just meat and cheese and a couple sparkly waters. That's how we're rolling. Listen, man. I made a bad error last night. We passed a lot of good restaurants. We settled on a place called Legal Seafood. Fantastic scenery, right? Yeah. Right off the river. I mean, they had boats galore. It was very scenic. It should have been illegal. My clam chowder was sensational, though. Top of the clam chowder, probably top 6 or 7 I've ever had, right? It was presidential award worthy according to our waiter, our server, who was fantastic, by the way. He was kind of new, so he was very disarming because he was super, super genuine. But I needed a little more seasoning, man. I added a steak to shrimp and a crab cake, and my steak came back about the color of the inside of my arm, so that wasn't going to fly for me.
Not a good start. That's not a good start.
So, and I never sent anything back, but he was so cool. I was like, hey,
I could play baseball with this thing.
The flavor was pretty good. It's weird. It's the thing that needed salt got the salt. Everything, like the steak was fine flavor wise. Just my crab cake, and I left a lot of food. I probably left I don't know, $40, $50 worth of food on my plate.
Oof.
But it's okay. It's okay. But there's a cool little grocery store right next to where we're staying. It's a place called Central, and it's this combo apartment / hotel, and it is fantastic. Like I couldn't. I have a washer dryer. I'm getting ready to iron my clothes. My kitchen. There's no TV in the room, which is fine.
That's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Sash, she did the best she could because it's expensive, and I think this place is expensive. When she told me the number, and I was like, "You thought that was cheap?" I was like, "Oh, must be nice," because I don't know if I would pay for this place for a night, but it's amazing. So I can look out my bedroom window and I can see, Soldier Field, and Harold's downtown is about 4 feet from me. Portillo's is right around. I mean, we're right in it, right? We're on Michigan Ave, so
yeah.
We walk directly across the street about 60 feet, and we're at the Hilton. So I'm the only guy. I guarantee I'll be the only guy that's going to walk in that facility at 9:00 or whenever we get started that will have showered twice. I had to do the get right shower for you guys, because I didn't want to sit around. I'm probably going to wear a sport coat. Who knows how long you're going to be in media.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I might as well start dressing like an adult again. And but I don't want to sit around in my suit, so I'll start over.
Fair enough. Did you hear our conversation at all about Pat Fitzgerald while we were waiting?
I did. And, but the funny thing was, how wrong were we on PJ Fleck? You're like, PJ's going to read from – I was like, nah, man, PJ kind of comes with some – he'll come with
juice.
You're like, no, PJ's weird.
He is weird.
Yeah, that guy loves to talk.
So
he doubled down, didn't he? He doubled down on the strain. That's like, Peach, how we doing?
So I'll give PJ Fleck a little credit here because
I know he's sensational.
He comes off a certain way, right? Like he comes off kind of like, and I think a lot of it is the way he dresses, and we're just like, he seems sort of phony, whatever. Clearly, whatever he is or whoever he is resonates with his players in a way that we have not appreciated up to this point, right? And clearly that has resulted in some like very tough physical football teams that have a tendency to beat our ass, right? Like that's just kind of what it is. And so like I have to give him credit because I think whatever the packaging is, that's authentically who he is. Like I don't think it matters that he's weird. I think it's real. And I think that's what resonates with the players. Fair or foul?
Yeah, that's fair, right? We talked to those guys. Matter of fact, it was Carter Kaufman and who was the really good receiver? Tyler Johnson. They brought a couple of guys here. We were down in the basement. We were in Chicago, nonetheless, but not here at the Hilton. It was a different Chicago spot. And I remember Carter Kaufman was telling me how early on they're like, man, this guy's full of it. Like too many cliches. Like, who is this guy? And then he said after about 6 or 7 weeks in the offseason, they're like, this is just who he is. Like, this is 100% legit. So they're all in. And I get how it comes off at first, but I think the world of him.
Mm-hmm.
And
better than most, right?
Yeah, and a good coach just gets you to believe in whatever it is that he wants you to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good leadership. And sometimes it's for good purposes and sometimes it's for bad purposes, but leadership is that's part of it, right? A unified message to get people to move in the same direction for a common goal. And he's really, really good at that. And I don't have any qualms. Now, with regards to Fitz, he had a lot of juice. He's kind of all over the place. And, he's a big young men guy. I might have to, he said it so much, I may start saying that instead of kids or fella. I don't know what I say when I refer to these guys, but I think young men. I think I'm going to go with young men. I think he's so excited to be back in the game that's what you're hearing. He usually plays it a little closer, or historically he's played it a little closer to the vest. But it was a little chest beating yesterday where it's like, hey, Michigan State can win championships, and this is a place where, we can achieve great things, and it's been done before. And he's kind of a big restore the order kind of guy. I felt like, I don't know, he was a little different. He was a little different yesterday. He had some juice.
What in your, maybe I'm way off here because I don't like him. I don't buy it. What is the thing that?
How do you really feel? I'm confused.
That's something you'll almost never have to ask me.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, I'm almost never on this side of you. That chicken, is that how that looks every day? That is hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
You want us to zoom in on it?
I would be like, why is there this chicken in front of this guy that has a show?
I think the funniest part is you're the first guest to acknowledge it.
Why?
No one said anything.
I think it's great that when we post just some stuff when it comes to the socials and everything, that we then have to wait a little bit to make sure that, we have this great clip of Ravi and it's just this chicken right in front of him. Yes. That then our guest is just giving this great analysis of something and Ravi asks this great question, but then this damn chicken's just sitting right there looking at him.
It's throwing me a little bit.
He's got perpetual Dan Hurley face.
Yeah, that was funny. Who said that? Was that?
I don't remember who said it.
I don't know.
I think you said it.
But my question here is
Sasha maybe or KJ. I don't know. It was somebody.
Am I way off? What if I'm wrong about Pat Fitzgerald? Let's start there. What is the thing that he's awesome at that will make me wrong?
Well, he does get guys motivated. Like his guys play hard.
Okay.
So, they're typically well coached. They never beat themselves. The old coaching cliches, man. Like he's gonna make you go out and get it. So, I mean, in this day and age, who knows? Consistency. Who knows how far consistency can get you? But I do think one of the things that he's really good at is he's an efficient worker. Like they're productive with what they do, and they get the most out of what they're doing. So, as long as you kind of have that in your bag, you're going to give yourself a chance.
Okay, that's fair. That probably wouldn't be the skill set that I choose out of the tool bag if I had to pick something elite, but it is something. That's fair. What caught your ear yesterday besides Fleck?
Who I kind of go back and forth on? When Lanning first started, I was like, ooh, this is a guy run through the wall for. Now I don't know.
Yeah, you don't like him. You don't like him much.
It's not so. No, I do. Well, Saturdays bug me. Okay, so
sure. Yeah.
Like you guys are really good. You're really talented. You're really loaded. Sometimes I watch you guys kind of just go through the motions. So, are you motivated?
Like having them ready, on Saturdays, or more in game on Saturdays bothers you?
In game.
Okay.
In game. Okay. Right, and it's like I'm gonna need them to start. They win a ton of games, but they won a lot of games before he got there too.
Yeah, it's a good program. Like it's a good program.
So like it's not that I dislike him. He just gives me a little bit of pause because I've heard some of this before, and you got to start winning those games, looking better against light competition a little more because everybody always tells me how good your roster is. You know what I mean?
Now, especially in the last few years.
And I want to start to see that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, I think we think of the Mario Cristobal era as worse than it was at Oregon. Like, I think we think Mario Cristobal and we go, oh, was okay at Oregon, got really good at Miami. Here's Mario Cristobal's years at Oregon that were not COVID. He was there for 4 years. One of them's COVID. I'm going to skip COVID, okay? 9-4, 12-2, 10-3.
Yeah.
That pretty good?
That's really good.
That's really good, right?
Yeah. I asked you guys a question. I'll be curious to see what the chat says. We talked about late 2000s. We talked about 11, 12, 13, 14 with Suave off air.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you guys this again.
So late Chip Kelly into early Mark Helfrich.
So not has he elevated the program in terms of visibility with what's going on in college football? Because maybe he has, but is this is going to sound weird because I just said peak and elevated. Is this peak Oregon time?
I think
he's elevated the profile. Is this peak Oregon time?
I think yes. I understand what the late 2000s, early 2010s was for Oregon. I do. I think because he's elevated their profile, I do think top to bottom the roster is better than it was then. I think those teams would have struggled to go through the Big Ten the way he did last year.
So the schedule, so the conference affiliation.
I think that matters a lot here.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm open to the discussion. I just think we slam dunk this thing.
I don't think it's a no-brainer. I mean, they were really, really good.
Yeah, they've been. Yeah, it's a heck of a program.
They basically just had 2 bad years. Last year under Helfrich and the one disaster Willie Taggart year.
Yeah.
Which, if you hire Willie Taggart, that's what you signed up for. Like, that's just what it is.
I forgot you had your experience.
Oh, yeah, I certainly did. It was lovely. But that's it. That's the only hiccup. I mean, I'll go all the way back to 2008 in Bellatti's last year, right? 10 wins, 10 wins, 12 wins, 12 wins, 12 wins.
They won a lot, man. I've looked at this a ton.
13, 9, the 4 and the 7, 9, 12, COVID, 10, 10, 12, 13, 13. I mean, you know how many double-digit win seasons that is in the last 20 years? That's insane.
You're preaching to. That's why I asked. I know it sounds dumb at first, but just get inside the numbers. That's a really good program.
I do give Lanning a lot of credit for doing that the last 2 years in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
I do. Like, I think that matters a lot because there was a time.
100%.
There was a time in that stretch that the Pac-12 wasn't great. I get end Pac-12 was really good, and there were stretches in the mid 2000s where like USC was awesome, and Utah's had their times in there. The last 2 years in the Big Ten is kind of what puts it over the top for me with Lanning of being like, that I think they are actually in a better place.
Yeah. What did you think of Chesney?
I like Chesney.
So you know what's funny? And he's off to a heck of a start.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't strike me as like this California kid.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
DB, I love Chesney's opening statement from yesterday because what he talked about just rung so true. And when we've been discussing this rebuild for Nebraska football for anything, and him talking about setting goals and then accomplishing goals and hitting check marks in just the little things. Like, I mean, the things that he talked about was like engaging the fan base and having qualitative metrics that they wanted to make sure that they were hitting. I thought all that stuff was incredible and stuff that you never got from Foster because he was really kind of the big picture. He was like, we're going to be.
You certainly weren't going to get it from Kelly. You didn't
100%.
get it from Darrell. Like, he just isn't. I'm like, he belongs someplace in the Midwest, like teaching shop. Like, very practical and pragmatic.
I think you have to be at UCLA though, right? Like, that's not a super.
Doesn't that sound like an oxymoron though?
It does. You think LA, you kind of think more
Tinseltown.
Lincoln Riley, right?
Yeah, that's flash and dash and
UCLA kind of has to be a blue collar program though. I think.
Okay.
Like, that's not a super easy job. They don't have the private school money that USC has. Like, UCLA has been in a tough spot, and the sort of the Big Ten money eventually is going to dig them out of their hole, I think. But like that is I think UCLA needs to be much more of a blue collar program than the way we think of it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is they tried to flip the narrative on SC in those rivalries that they were the substance school, right? So that's interesting.
I think it's sort of speaking of Cristobal, I think it's sort of like Miami. Like Miami has this reputation as a very like flashy, sexy program, right?
Yeah.
When did Miami get good? When they just decided we're better than you on the lines, right? That's the Cristobal thing. He's going to be awesome on the offensive and defensive lines, and everything else will kind of figure itself out. I get you got Cam Ward, who was super flashy. I get you have Malachi Toney, who's super flashy, but that's not why they were good.
And you know what? Like Cam Ward really only had to be like that because he had to make so many plays.
Yeah.
Like we forgot how he was kind of running for his life a lot that last year at Miami, making a lot of off-script stuff happen. So that he has definitely been like, I don't think anybody questioned his recruiting in Oregon, right? Like you knew he was going to get some fellas, but he's just a good old-fashioned tough football coach. And I think when you look at Chesney, I find him fascinating. You know, I like UCLA this year, but he didn't do anything to water that down for me.
What are you hoping to hear from Nebraska today?
I hope nothing.
Just nothing of interest, nothing of note.
I mean, listen.
You want to keep a quiet offseason, right?
Here's the thing. I've intimated this. I've said this a lot, right? You know, obviously I've got an unbelievable relationship with Coach Rhule. And I said this 7-8 months ago. Kind of just, we just went on by. Like he's tried it a couple of different ways, right? He's tried the motivating, the empowering, I'm gonna speak life into these guys publicly. Then he's tried hey, you know what? Like we're gonna tell it like it is. We're gonna try to grow the program. We need to kind of sell this thing from a branding standpoint so we can compete on the national level. We didn't like that either, right? We didn't like the hat, but we didn't like anything because they weren't winning enough. Right. Even though there was the incremental progress, people would fold their arms and roll their eyes and they'd say, yeah, but November and yeah, but the top teams. Right. And those things, a couple things can be true at once. So I always suggested, and we'll see what happens. Why not just do it the way you want to do? Not for anybody else, except for the guys in the building and the state of Nebraska. You want to be representative of the state of Nebraska. It's not a media thing. It's not a national media thing. It's not an anything, but we need to be the best versions of ourselves for the sake of ourselves and for the state as a representative. That's it. So what I'm hoping is that's all we talk about. He's got 3 guys that are definitely pro prospects. We don't have to squint. We don't have to be like, well, I wonder. I mean, you could fight me over Lindenmeyer, but I think I have a track record of understanding when tight ends have the opportunity to get paid on Sundays.
Looking at you, Nate Borkature.
Evans is going to get drafted. Andrew Marshall's going to get drafted. That's the first time in a long time. And it's not like I have all the guys that are coming to media days, but I don't really have to squint. You know what I'm saying? What I mean? And they're guys that have been through some things in the program that I think are good representations of what they want this program to be. Andrew Marshall is the poster child for opportunity and development. A lot of times people didn't think a ton of him, even though he came in with some credentials. I'm telling you, even Coach Orich probably got here and said, before I watch the tape, I'm probably replacing this guy. Like, this can't be the same guy that left me at Idaho, right? And then you watch him play, and you're like, oh, this guy's really good. He's got a really good coach in Addison Williams. I like him.
That's a talent eval win for me too.
100%. I mean, you liked him, right? Doesn't say much. Luke Lindemeyer is the poster child for development, homegrown, right in your own backyard, right? He's being developed and is under the tutelage of a pretty malign coach, at least publicly. Oh, Sat doesn't do this, and Sat doesn't do that. And he just keeps pumping out good players, right? Then there's Justin Evans, who came in, guys, as a defensive eval in terms of recruiting. Took a year and a half, came along slowly, sprinkled him in, going into his second year at center now. Doesn't say much.
Seamless transition to center, by the way.
He's just, he can be the poster child of just do what you're asked. Understand rigor. Work your ass off, receive instruction, see you at the end. So the stories that they have to tell speak more from what they've accomplished than anything actually than I think they're going to say. I can't imagine Coach Rhule outside of maybe his opener and fielding questions. I just don't think he's going to give you much. There won't be. I asked him. Was this yesterday? Yeah, I asked him yesterday. I said, "Hey." I said, you got an interview left in you for me? He was like, nah, I'm good. Nah. I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, pardon? So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I understand it completely. Like, don't give me anything and we won't take from you. You know what I mean? So I don't mind it at all.
So to your point there, when you're talking about doing things the way you want to do them, and talking about you, I mean Coach Rhule, it kind of reminds me of a couple things. Number one, what we always have talked about with Cignetti about not having so many opinions and people that, like, there's a certain point where so many people caring about the program can be counterproductive, right? In terms of everybody wants an opinion. Everybody thinks it has to be done a certain way. Cignetti didn't have to deal with any of that, so he just can come in and be Kurt Cignetti. The other part of it that made me think about is like, and I know this is an unpopular stance, but every time somebody comes in as like, yeah, I talked to Coach Osborne or whatever, like I cringe just a little. It's like, you don't have to. I get what he means to the state. I do. I get what T.O. means to the state. But like, you can't. Every time it seems like they're looking for approval, or that they're like, even if it's not approval from T.O., like that they're looking for approval from everybody else because they consulted and T.O. gave his thumbs up or whatever. Like, I just cringe a little bit because it's like, that can't be the way we get back to where we're supposed to, right? Like that's not gonna be it. And like constantly looking to approval, whether it's from TO or the local media or ex-players, and again, all people that I think for the most part mean well and want the program to succeed. There's just you can't ask for their permission or approval for it to work the way you want it to. And that's like, I think that's the other side of the support sword that we talk about with Nebraska. Yes, it can be a huge, huge benefit. There's also the other side of it where everybody has an opinion, and it's hard to sometimes filter that out to say, hey, I appreciate that you want us to succeed. You have to trust me to do it my way.
Yeah. And I like, it's, you're not gonna win anyone over until you win. So it's just wasted energy, right? You only have so much bandwidth, and put it into, the BPSs. You want the speed on the internet, right? It's like, if you can only hold so many files, then those need to be the most important files, which is why I like some of the temperament that he's got in the building too, right? I mean,
with the assistants or the players or both?
So both, because you weed guys out that aren't for what the program is trying to embody, right? You got to do some hard things every day, right? The schedule is this in 4 months of OTAs. I made a big deal about 4 months of OTAs for a reason. right? I made a big deal about 4 months of OTAs because once they get football on film and they got spring out of the way early, they're going to put you through it, right? They know exactly what they're dealing with. They know exactly what they're working on and working towards. So you better piss or get off the pot.
Yeah.
And I think there are a handful of guys in this offseason that know that they've either had to get their ass in gear or you got to find something else different to do. And I love it because it starts in the weight room where you don't have to deal with any of that nonsense that happens out on the field and workouts when you set the standard of kicking tail in the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way that Corey and Kristen and these folks have kind of put it together because they looked at the data from the first 3 years, right? We did this way. We had to get a little bigger. We had to get so they compile the results and they track the methodology and then you get to tweak it. So I don't think it's a bonus or a, skirt and pom-poms moment that you say, hey, this is the most competitive depth we've had in year 4. It should be the most competitive depth they've had in year 4. So I like that. And sometimes you have to just be able to take a step back and say, and not couch a comment by saying it's not where we want to be. Sometimes you just have to leave it right where it is. Hey, we're getting better.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting better. Hey, we've grown in this area. We're growing in this area. We need to get better. You don't always have to couch something because you're afraid to set the expectation level. Set the expectation level. You need to get better, right? You have to play better in November, which means you have to train for November's schedule. You have to get better late in games, which means you need to develop the temperament in the meantime that can push your ass through tough situations when it's nut cutting time in the fourth quarter. You cannot just talk about it. You have to find the guys, regardless of star rankings or where they came from, that are going to say to themselves, hey, you know what? Not my guy. When you get enough guys that say, hey, not my guy. My guy's not making that play. My guy's not getting me to the ground. I'm doing my 1 of 11. See, that's how you have to train. And I think that's one thing that they've done this offseason where it's like, if I know that player X and player Y are really close on the depth chart, you got to be able to look at that guy to the side and say, hey, man, I'm cheering for you. We're on a common goal, but I got this. And that other guy's got to look at you and he's got to say, nah, you know what? I got this. I'm not going to let you down. And then you let the chips fall where they may when you actually go out and compete. But you have to train in such a way where time doesn't matter. That's the part that I like this offseason. I don't want everybody going home all the time. I don't. And listen, hear my heart.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of programs do the things that Nebraska is doing. I'm not down on the procedure and protocol. I like the sense of urgency to tweak it in year 4. That's what I'm talking about. So don't confuse or misconstrue anything I'm saying about what was being done versus what wasn't being done. What I'm telling you is you need to take the data and look at the results and ask yourself, is this where we want it to be? And why didn't we get there? How did we get here? And then in year 4, you need to take a look at it and be like, where are we tweaking it? And sometimes it's the mentality and the messaging that's coming from inside the building. And I think that's what you're going to see a lot today. At least it's the feel that I think you're going to hear today.
DB, what you mentioned yesterday and then you mentioned again today, kind of the competitive depth on the roster. So I'm looking at kind of the different position groups. I think there's some that jump out, obviously, with like the secondary. Seems like incredibly competitive depth there. Are there other, I think maybe even offensive line? Like there's a lot of places Sam Sledge would be a for sure starter. Gunnar Gatula's got starting experience. Like there's some guys on that offensive line that look at it. It looks like there's probably 8 guys.
Gunnar Gatula played as a freshman. You think he's going to look at Babalade or Kanak or these guys and be like, "Oh man, here you go."
And he wasn't physically ready, and he
wasn't even Pete Gatula as a freshman.
Yeah. Where else on the roster do you like that competitive depth?
Not the running back room.
Okay.
I think the tight end room is they get along so well, and there's some like good like Sorensen and Danny King and Lendemeyer, like those are good guys. Like help you cross the street, get your groceries. Then you combine it with some Bonners and some Ingersons. Echternach, who may actually kick those guys may kick the grocery bag out of your hand. Right? So I liked that room too from a competitive standpoint, and they have a very demanding coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I like that too. I think the wide receiver room is very competitive. I think when Ja'Cory Barney has to look around and say, finally in year 3, I'm not bringing the most juice to practice. I need to go harder.
Because it wasn't close last year. He was obviously bringing the most juice to practice.
Yeah, it is not. It's not like that. And you need that, right? It's D-line. How would you like to try to win a job as an open or closed side end?
So I was just going to ask, are we sleeping on the competitive depth at defensive end?
No, you're not. Dylan Rogers has probably got to be an off-ball linebacker with this group. And I'm not sure that best suits him, but listen.
But who's he getting through? Who's he getting past at end?
I mean, some guy's going to have to go sit down, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm excited to see what a motivated, dialed-in Winari looks like. I want to see Cam Linhart in a specific role. I want to see if McGahee will believe in the fruits of his labor in the offseason. I want to see Anthony Jones know that, listen, I got a ton of experience. I've been teaching a lot of these pups. Are any of these guys going to run me down? You know what I mean? Like, it's so competitive that I just want to see guys roll through it and see what happens. This could easily be a team where what you see in week 3 or 2 or 1 may not look anything like you may see in week 6 or 7. And I actually like that. If I'm Mark Way or if I'm Jeremiah Jones, listen, you saw Jeremiah Jones up close in person at Westside when he came to that game.
Monster.
Big, strong. Now go back and watch his high school tape.
Yeah.
And ask yourself why so many people weren't recruiting him to play defense.
Yeah.
He wants to play. You think he's switching sides of the ball to go rush the passer if he thinks he can't run somebody down?
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. It's just competitive.
I wanted to ask you, Jeremiah Jones switching to end, big deal, not a big deal, wait and see?
Well, so I spent, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes just combing through his high school tape. Most of his good highlights were on defense.
Yes, they were.
And so I don't know immediate impact. I'm always a little reluctant to think that a guy can just flip sides and in this league. But if there's anybody that's athletic enough to give yourself at least situationally, because he's still just a pup, at least situationally where you may be able to use him. But I know if you're looking for a guy to help buoy that barometer in your practice level intensity, and I'm Coach Manning in my position groups, Jeremiah Jones isn't a bad guy to bring over.
How does because we saw this a little bit with Mosey switching from wide receiver to running back. Obviously, you mentioned Mac Markway switched over from tight end to defensive end. Same thing with Jeremiah Jones now. Like, are you familiar at all with sort of how, like, E.J. Barthel kind of made it sound like he fought for Mosey to be in his room? Like, are these guys kind of having, like, debates to be like, hey, no, let me have him. I can get him on the field. I think he could, like, how does that work when you're getting some of these position switches, or is it on an individual basis? Because it seems like sometimes they're fighting for the guy they want.
Yeah, I think coaches do. They lobby. They lobby all the time. And I think you start with the player, and then you allow them, I think, to have the opportunity so you don't especially if you get guys that like have a strong opinion either way. A lot of times you'll be recruiting guys that are like, hey man, I think I'm better at this, but I'll go where you want me to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful of those guys.
Mm.
They mean well, but it doesn't always end up well.
You need a little more conviction.
You need the guys that don't preface it by what they prefer. Because those guys usually have a spot that they think that they're better at. Now, sometimes you get these players that get a false sense of, they're just delusions of grandeur, right? Where it's like, yeah, you're not exactly like you think. Let's try this.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got to save them from themselves. But those guys are a little easier to spot,
mm-hmm.
right? I think, Markway is looking at, man, listen, multiple knee surgeries, the in and out, the move position, like, maybe I could put my hands on guys instead of letting them put their hands on me, right? Sometimes that reveals itself, especially when you were that good of an athlete coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think position coaches, guys like Mosey was one of those guys that was like, I'm going to play where I can get on the field. I'll figure out the rest later, right? That's why, and you see it in how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how few of opportunities he gets. That's why I gravitate towards him a little bit, because we're a little alike in that, where we'd rather be caught with than without. You may not always be the guy or always have to be on, or listen, I'm not going to go out tomorrow. Well, I don't think so. And get in a fight. But I do know I'll be more prepared in case that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I'd much rather be caught with than without. And I like guys that are like that, because if you stay ready, the term, you don't have to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I like guys like Mosey. That's why I like guys like Mekhi Nelson, right? Mekhi Nelson had a hard time. Well, they're going through the hearings and the evidence, and it's a Title IX issue, so he can't be on campus.
Mm-hmm.
You think that guy's missing a workout? He's looking for people to film him so he can send that film back to Coach Barthel, so he knows that he's getting that work in, even though that he's not on campus. See, those are the guys that you need near your program, because they're willing to do whatever it takes to put themselves in positions to have success. That has to come through being motivated through how you work out and what your culture is. Get your ass out of bed and get to workouts. It's going to be a 7-8 hour day in the off season.
Yeah.
Just know that going in with your OTAs. Figure out that part on the chart with your weight maintenance and your vitamin intake and what your blood work looks like. Like, be on the tops of those charts every day. They're for everybody to see. Don't let your position group be the position group that is like, not my group. Like, the more that happens in the offseason, the more you'll nut up in fourth quarters when it's 4th and 4 and it's a must stop, right? Or it's 3rd and 1 and it's first down, salt clock, game over, or give it back to them and they bounce one off the uprights for a winner.
Yeah.
That's how you get there.
Did we have we not talked about the competitive depth in the quarterback room enough?
So I definitely like the temperament, because all those guys have won games at the power forward level. So you think when they don't get their rep, listen, with the terrible news with my man AG, says Parkinson, and cut me to the cord, and I just started thinking about the competitiveness when guys get reps. If a guy ripped off a run, that room was like, next, give me the rep. We'd see a guy run a play out, be like, next. Or it got so bad when they would divvy us up in groups, like if you were with the 1s or the 2s, we would be watching film. This is a true story. We'd be watching film in the running back room with the fullbacks. And we would get so nitpicky with one another. We would say, well, who'd you do that against? Or I had to make Kareem Moss miss. You only had to make Booker miss. Like, listen, I'm telling you, we would do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because when you got your opportunity, you're like, listen, man, you need to be uncomfortable not playing me. Like, what are you doing? And so when those guys are throwing and they're doing their workouts and their OTAs with wide receivers, and, you know, Caleb may look at Calandra and be like, man, you and KC got something going. You guys. And then Kalen's like, who's my guy? Who's my guy? He's like, hey, Quasi. Hey, man, let's hit these routes, you know? And, you know, Latif's like, oh, he's on the move like that? Throwing to your left? Hey, watch this. Hey, on that drag, watch this shoulder. Like, you want guys like that, but they're still cheering for one another. I've always said that's when the magic happens. You have to be other-centered enough to know that you want the best for that guy, but because I cheer for you doesn't mean I'm not competitive. It just means I love you. And don't mistake that for not being competitive. The more guys and the more rooms you have like that, the better chance you have. You think Iowa gives two bleeps about who's winning that quarterback job?
Yeah. I mean,
it's not the Iowa way. Do you know what Iowa's going to say? They're going to say, whoever wins that job, we're going to play our ass off for them, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
All right. That's what you're after. That's what PJ Fleck's telling you. Right? That's what Bielema's telling you. Like, that's how they win games.
Yeah.
He doesn't go into that Wisconsin soliloquy and make it about talent. He's like, no, man, we're just program defiant. At some point, you just have to be tired of being tired.
That's DB. Great stuff, DB. As always, enjoy the time in Chicago. I hope you get some better food at some point today.
Yeah, I don't know what the eating schedule's. Hey, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
I'm pressing my own coat because I didn't bring a jacket or a hanger. I usually send my suits to get cleaned.
Yeah.
Is there a way with the ironing board where I don't have to isolate the single sleeve or put my hand underneath it to iron?
I wouldn't put your hand underneath it.
I do that all the time. It's not great. I mean, have you not seen my tips?
No, you got no
pause.
I just assumed you were burning the fingertips off to so you don't.
Yeah, that's it too. I'm big Kevin Spacey. No, I'm not actually Kevin Spacey.
Good save, Damon. Really good save.
Yeah, out on that guy.
Good job.
Out on that guy. In on the movie 7.
No, the best way to do it is
What's in the box?
The best way to do it, if you got an ironing board, is to put the arm like down one way and set it away from the rest of the coat, like extend the arm out and then do it on.
I'm definitely starting with the arms first because I don't want my back. I don't want the back wrinkle.
Yeah, because once you do the arms, you can like almost put the suit or the jacket on the ironing board, like the ironing board's wearing it, so the arms are dangling on the side, and do the back that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. You guys, I shouldn't. I'm gonna give you one a day.
Big Kevin Spacey guy, DB.
Well, you get me all fired up, man, and so I'm like, I don't rock with Kevin Spacey.
All right, just for the record, DB out on Kevin Spacey. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, champ. Be well.
That is the co-host DB. We will be right back with Brian Edwards from Major Wager here in just a minute.
It's time to sizzle into summer at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Turn up the heat on your next lease. This July, the savings are as hot as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at $449 a month. Don't wait. Sizzle into summer this July at Edwards Kia. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Kia.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Brian Edwards from Major Wager. B, how are we doing this morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. What's happening? Yeah, that was a good save by Damon on Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, my God. I thought we were going to lose the show, the rights. I thought all it takes is 5 seconds. You can't ever get them back either.
B, how I know we didn't send you any teams today, but when you're looking at sort of this time of year, I assume when do you start putting your futures in on college football? Do you kind of just play it by the lines and when you like them?
Just kind of as I run into them. I was listening to PJ Fleck for a minute, which is not the easiest task, but I was looking at Minnesota. And I usually like to say I need a 1.5 game cushion. Like, in other words, if it's 7, or I'm sorry, let me use Minnesota for example. It's 6.5. If I'm going to play the over, I like for it to be, I'm confident they're going to win 8. But when it's plus money, it's a little different. And I'm looking at Minnesota, and I'm thinking they get to at least 7, and it is plus money. So I'm kind of a lean there. So Drake Lindsay, I'm on the radio in Little Rock, and kind of interesting because he's from Arkansas. He might be specifically from Little Rock. I'm not positive on that. But the Hogs didn't even offer him a scholarship. They wanted him to walk on, and that's why he went to Minnesota. And I wasn't invited. I didn't have bets on a ton of Minnesota games last year, but when I did, I was pretty impressed by him. Now, I saw somebody had a first-round grade on him, and I was like, whoa, I wasn't that impressed by him. But, I think they're going to be pretty good. A little worried about their secondary. But they got 6 starters back on a defense that was not great last year, but pretty good. I think they're going to get pretty good quarterback play. And the schedule works. And I think they get to at least 7 and maybe 8. I initially marked them 4-3 with 5 swing games, but the 5 swing games, multiple ones are at home, which I think they should probably beat UCLA at home. Now Mississippi State, I think Minnesota will be probably a 3.5, 4-point favorite there. So I would think they win that. Michigan at home is another swing game. Iowa at home is another swing game. And at Wisconsin's another swing game. If they get Mississippi State and UCLA, they would just need one of those 3. 2 of them are at home and one of them at Wisconsin. Yeah, so I'm going to lean to Minnesota since it's plus money on over 6.5.
When you're looking at teams that play like a Wisconsin, for example, how much do you consider at what point in the season they're playing them when you look at a coach like Fickle, who you go, might be on the hot seat. Minnesota ends their season with him. How do you kind of look at that when you're looking at coin toss games or swing games and you go, I don't even know if Fickle's going to be the coach. Is Wisconsin playing for anything at that point? Like, do you factor that in at all, or is that just too many variables for you to work with?
No, sometimes you do, especially if you think it's going to be mid-season. But, sometimes teams get a jump from usually the first week. Like, I had an old handicapper friend, Dave Koken, who passed away a couple years ago. He didn't care what the sport was. The first game with the interim coach, he bet on the team with the interim coach every game, and I don't have any stats for it, but I feel like it does really well.
It hits a lot.
First game now, the first game. But
it hits quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, with Wisconsin, I marked them 4-4 with 4 swing games. I've got their swing games being – let's see. Oh, it looks like I crossed them out and marked. Okay, so never mind. So I've got them 5 and 6 with 1 swing game being Minnesota at home, but their total is 6.5. So I'm under there, which is even money, or it was even money a couple weeks ago on Wisconsin. So I think they go either 5-7 or 6-6. Either way is under.
What when you're looking at Wisconsin, what do you like number wise? What do you think saves Fickell's job?
So when they retained him, they said they were going to give him more money, but looking at their recruiting numbers, doesn't look like they gave him much. I mean,
just nobody wanted to go there.
I mean, and number 65 overall, number 38 transfer specific, 48 commits, and only 4 of them are 4 stars. I don't know that they gave him much more money, but Colton Joseph, it's going to be interesting. He's taking a step up in class, but man, pretty sure he had over 1,000 rushing yards last year. So
I believe so.
Maybe his scrambling gives them a little dynamic offensively that they haven't had. Nevertheless, I don't see them getting to 7 wins.
They've gotten worse every year, both overall and in conference. Like, is this hey, you get back to a bowl game and we kind of see enough progress, or are you kind of more like, hey, he probably needs to get to about 8 for people to kind of say this thing's gotten turned around?
I mean, I definitely think the latter, if you feel like it's turned around, get to 8. I mean, if you're just getting to 6, I mean, why the hell did you fire Paul Chryst if getting to 6 in year 4 is what you're looking for at Wisconsin? I mean, this program was consistently at least an 8 and 9 win team for decades.
Yeah, I mean, Chris' worst year was 7-5, but other than that, he was 10, 11, 13, 10, 9. Like, it was, even Gary Anderson had a couple good years there, it's been a pretty consistent program.
Yeah, I mean, Anderson had Melvin Gibson. I couldn't believe when he went to Oregon State. I was like, what in the world are you doing, man? You must be really cold in Wisconsin.
Is Fickell one of the bigger surprises for you that he hasn't worked out?
Yeah, man, I thought it was a home run hire. Now, when he got was it Longo? Phil Longo
from North Carolina.
Yeah, and that was kind of against the Wisconsin way. I was a little bit, but right when they hired him, I thought it was a home run hire. Like, I didn't, when Fickell eventually left Cincinnati, I thought it would be for a bigger and better program, and so I was impressed with the hire, and it's been awful. And maybe Marcus Freeman was more about the success they were having at Cincinnati than Fickell was.
Well, ironically enough, with that, I have it under pretty good authority that if Luke Fickell had been willing to skip Cincinnati's playoff game, that he'd be the head coach of Notre Dame right now.
Wow. But you know what? I respect that. I respect not skipping the playoff game.
I do too, but that throws us in such a different timeline, right?
Oh, wow, absolutely.
Universe of Freeman somewhere else. And what does that do to say the Ohio State job? Because they've always sort of had this fascination with Freeman. If maybe they're a little bit less patient with Day with Freeman, I don't know. It's a fascinating thing, but I have heard I consider it to be pretty decent amount of certainty that if he was willing to skip the Cincinnati playoff game, he is the Notre Dame head coach.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, that
could be wrong, but that's what I've heard.
That's wow. That would change the dynamic multiple places. Not exactly like the Miami Dolphins trainer not clearing Drew Brees
for Saban.
The Dolphins instead of Saints, which Nick Saban would have stayed with the Dolphins and not gone to Alabama, and boy, that would have made my world a lot better the last 2 decades.
So I got a real quick question, and we'll let you go here. DB was talking about earlier the sort of the expectations of sort of doing things a certain way when you're at a place like Nebraska or when you're at a place with a certain amount of history, right? I'm curious with you at Florida. You've had a couple different coaches win national championships with Spurrier and Urban Meyer, obviously, and then you've had a lot of coaches sprinkled in that have had varying degrees of success, from Ron Zook to Jim McElwain to Dan Mullen to I think Muschamp was in there for a hot second. You've had a lot of guys with varying degrees of success.
Not much success, but yeah.
I mean, Mullen had a couple good years.
I thought Mullen did great for 3 years, and then year 4, he just didn't fire Grantham, and he kind of checked out, and the relationship with Strickland soured. I'm sorry, I cut you off before you were about to ask a question, didn't I?
No, you're okay. I agree with you. I think Mullen had one bad year, and they fired him for it. But so my question is, like, with Florida, obviously you guys have Summerall there, and he's coming over from Tulane. But, like, is there this sense of, like, hey, we want it to look or feel a certain way? Or are you guys just like, hey, just get us back to college football playoff contention? We're cool. We don't care. Like, we don't need it to feel a certain – because we brought up with Wisconsin. As soon as Fickle hired Phil Longo, we were all like, I don't know if that's going to work.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think we're so starving for success, it does not matter. I mean, when Muschamp went 11-1 in the regular season in year 2, and it was mostly defense, we were just fine with that. I mean, look, we'd love somebody like Spurrier, and I think Summerall's personality may be along those lines, at least in terms of his confidence and aura, maybe a little bit. Let him win some games before I start using a word like that. But yeah, no, I think Florida's so starved for success. It doesn't matter how it's done, but yeah, it'd be great if it's done with a little flair like the HBC used to do it. That'd just be gravy. But we need dubs and trips to Atlanta. It's been way too long.
That is Brian Edwards from Major Wager. Beat, we appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
That's Brian Edwards from Major Wager. We'll take a quick break here. We'll get to Michael BRUNTZ from Husker 24/7 coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's time to sizzle into summer at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Turn up the heat on your next lease. This July, the savings are as hot as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at $449 a month. Don't wait. Sizzle into summer this July at Edwards Kia. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Kia.
Feeling tired? Foggy? Just off? At NextGen Male Medical Clinic, we offer hormone evaluations, peptides, supervised weight management for men and women. Most insurance accepted. Schedule a visit at nextgenmmc.com.
It's pretty easy to learn that when you spend time in the outdoors. Mm-hmm. The first couple of times you're just sitting there in the quiet. You're able to actually just sit there and be still and think about things. A lot of people don't like to sit and be still. We're busy with our phones, we're busy with our lives, our jobs, driving everywhere, running kids around. It's just sometimes it's nice to just be still in the outdoors, in the quiet, and just be alone with your own thoughts, and it's really peaceful.
Yeah. So you would say that's changed you as a baseball player?
Oh, 100%. You become a lot more, you gain a lot better perspective of what's important. And you just take a step back, realize what's important, clears your mind, maybe anxiety and pressure just kind of fade away, and you catch a big old fish, and that's pretty fun. Like it's fun to sit in the outdoors and just be still, but reeling in a big bass, oh my goodness, it's so much fun.
So Grand Slam or reeling in the biggest bass you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, probably hitting Grand Slam, but reeling in a big fish or shooting a banded mallard is pretty sick.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Michael BRUNTZ of Husker 24/7. BRUNTZ, how are we doing this morning?
Not bad. How's it going?
Good. Are you in the great city of Chicago?
Yes, I am. I'm here, and I'm ready.
BRUNTZ, the hair looks immaculate today.
Thanks. It's I've been working on it all off season.
I see you're in full media days mode, right? You've been listening to a lot of coaches, it seems like. How have you had a chance to listen to a lot of the guys so far?
No, I not much. I got here last night, so I've not been doing the conference rounds, which I picked up a little bit here and there. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like, Brett Bielema saying what he said, kind of being like the story of day one. I don't like that. Doesn't seem like something to me that, is a huge deal or really should register, but that's kind of the direction of these things nowadays, I guess. But yeah, it's we'll hopefully learn some things from Matt Rhule and some players, and then we're 6 days from the start of fall camp and we're off and running.
BRUNTZ, can I, just from the national perspective, because Big Ten Media Day is obviously different than what we're going to get from the local media that'll ask Rhule questions when it comes to the start of fall camp. Is there something from the national perspective that you're expecting Rhule to get asked that he'll have to answer on? Maybe something that we as the Nebraska fan base and the media have moved on from? Is there something you think he might have to retouch on?
I mean, there's enough kind of big picture topics out there that I'm sure he'll get asked. I mean, I think he's always kind of a popular stop for national writers just because he's typically willing to weigh in on the issue of the day. And there's a lot of issues of the day right now. I mean, I'm sure the 5 for 5 stuff will come up. I'm sure that, NIL things will come up. You've got the apparent deadline today of this, stuff that's weaving through or trying to be weaved through Congress. So I'm sure there's a number of those topics that he's going to get asked about. But I'm guessing, especially with him, that the rev share thing will come up. It always seems like it kind of comes back to NIL and that kind of thing. So I don't think there's just like one topic, and it's funny. The way they used to do this event, a coach would have to sit there for 2 hours. Like it was a 2-hour sit down at essentially just a round table, and you'd get some big picture questions, you get some oddball questions, but it's a little bit more streamlined now. It's only like a half hour, so I'm sure there'll be a few, but there's really kind of not a lot of time for that stuff anyways, just because it almost kind of feels like at times a regular media availability that got moved to Chicago.
Do you think he'll get asked about Mekhi Nelson's status?
Yeah, I do. I saw Troy Dannon said yesterday that that he is, at least from the institution's perspective, eligible. Matt Rhule hasn't addressed it yet. He's going to have to, the running back overall is going to have to be addressed because you've got Nelson's situation. You've got Tyke Hayes was added since the last time that Rhule talked to media. So just the fact that position group, you're trying to replace an All-American with a big group of guys that don't have a ton of experience. So that's going to be, I think, towards the front of the topics, and I think he'll be asked about that, and we'll have to address that.
BRUNTZ, when you're looking at questions from non-Nebraska media, you think more likely, or which one do you think he gets first? A question about Dylan Raiola or a question about Mike Ekeler?
Oh, probably. I would assume Raiola. I would be a little bit surprised if he got asked about Ekeler, to be honest. But I think Raiola might be a little bit more likely, especially with having a new quarterback this year who's stylistically very different than what Dylan Raiola was, and I think that's where I would probably put my money on the roulette table about what he would be asked. I don't know. I can't imagine that a lot of USC folks will be hanging around to ask Ekeler, but I'd be surprised. I've been surprised before.
What's your take on Jeremiah Jones moving over to the other side of the ball? when we got the roster release yesterday.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's going back to his recruitment, right? Like he was the type of guy that you could basically he was almost positionless in the way he played. I mean, he was wide receiver, is he tight end? I think Nebraska initially was recruiting him as a potential like linebacker edge type player. He played safety. I want to say he played a little bit of quarterback too at times in high school, but I think it's the thing you kind of have to be careful with sometimes with young players and you're making position changes like that is you need it to stick somewhere. And, he was a wide receiver last year, had a lot of injury issues here and there that kind of limited things a bit. He's got a unique body type though, where, he's I think they list him at like 6'4", 230, something like that. And I'd say he's legitimately all of that. He's a rangy kid. So, you look at somebody like that and say, okay, is he a potential edge? If you put a little bit more weight on him, is he can he bend and be more of a pass rushing specialist? That's interesting. You need to find something for him, I think, though, this year to see what you've got there. So hopefully that ends up panning out because I think he is a pretty talented football player. And sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out where guys actually fit if they can play a bunch of positions like he certainly can and has.
BRUNTZ, this is always the time of year, whether it's Big Ten Media Days, start of fall camp, roster releases, all that there's just so much information that comes out. Everybody attaches it, whether it's Jeremiah Jones weight or if it's, one coach had said something in particular. How do you read the tea leaves at this part of the offseason, and what are you looking for when you're listening to, especially players, on the inner workings and maybe from what you'll hear from Rhule? What do you look for year in and year out at this time that you try to attach to, or is there something that you kind of look for either storylines or something that will give you a different insight?
Yeah, I think coming out of the summer, it's helpful to get just there's like a laundry list of things you got to get checked off. Like you want to hear about guys who are injured in the spring, and there were a lot of guys that were out for the spring for Nebraska. The thing too with the way that Nebraska handled the schedule this year, like it's been a long break since we last saw anything resembling football in Lincoln. I mean, it was basically end of March, and so getting some of those things tipped off a little bit. I'm curious to see if the tone changes at all here from maybe what it's been all off season. I mean, I think by design it's been a quiet off season, and now that you're kind of getting closer to the actual season itself, what's the tone that's going to be set for Matt Rhule, and are players going to parrot it? I think they typically do and kind of go off of what the head coach thinks and says, but that's interesting to me. I mean, there's also enough change that's taken place since last season that there's a lot of storylines on this team. I mean, you've got a brand new defensive system, a new coordinator, several new assistant coaches on that side of the ball. You all of a sudden, for the first time in a long time, have the potential where offensive line is the strength of your offense. And that's kind of cool. Nebraska's obviously put a lot of money and time and effort into improving that area of their offense, not only on the coaching side of things, but also via the transfer portal, NIL, all that other stuff. I mean, they want to get that part right. So, there's a lot to kind of chew on here. And as we kind of get into the start of fall camp too, and kind of how this is going to look. So, not only that, but one other thing that maybe is it flying under the radar? I feels like with everything else that we're kind of talking about that, what's this offense going to be in 2026? You have a very different quarterback than what you did last season, and how does that affect things? And so there's a lot to kind of pull on. These things can be sleepy, but there's some things we gotta hear today and ask about. So that's a good thing.
BRUNTZ, I think you brought up something interesting there with what the offense is going to look like, because since we didn't change coordinators or anything like that, I think we focus more on the defensive side of the ball in terms of those changes. But if if you had to rank where offensive identity would be on a list of things that you're curious to see from this team, where would that be?
Pretty high. Pretty high. I mean, it's, it hasn't felt like there's been, towards last season at times, it felt like you kind of had that early in the year, but, what's this thing going to be? And it's, Dana Holgerson's talked about this where, he's going to kind of fit the offense to what he's got to work with. It's going to have to look different this year, just based on the ingredients he's got. Is Nebraska going to fully embrace this? Letting Calandria run around and extend plays like that. That's a significant change if they're going to do that. Are they willing to accept a few more turnovers that inevitably come with an offense like that? If you're also getting big plays off of it too, I don't know. But I mean, I think that piece of it has to, be pretty important towards the top of the list. Certainly defense is huge. I would put the offense and what that's going to be pretty close right behind it. It's going to have to carry this team at times, I think, and they're going to have to be able to score with some teams. And that's not necessarily what Nebraska's done over the last 3 years. So it's a big storyline coming into this season is whether or not Nebraska is going to be able to find some explosiveness and have something that, when you're going into November, and November is going to be a huge narrative this season, as it should be. What are you relying on? What can you kind of count on offensively when you need points, or you need a long drive, or you need something? And that's a big piece of what is going to help or hurt this team this year.
BRUNTZ, how much would you push back if I gave you the following statement, that Nebraska looked like they had the most identity on offense last year against UCLA?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a high water mark for them. I think part of it was you were also very efficient with what was being called. Like I'm guessing that game was not a extensive play sheet for what Dana Holgerson was calling in that game. You got a freshman quarterback. I know he was back home, but he's starting on the road. And I think the circumstances of that game necessitated that Nebraska was going to be a little bit more dialed in on what they were calling, a little bit less of maybe what they had in the toolbox for that one, and you're going to rely more on Emmett Johnson. The thing was that didn't travel the rest of November, or didn't seem to, and so that's where I think you got to get that figured out of what this thing's going to look like, throughout the whole year. And I don't know. I mean, I think at times Nebraska felt like they had it last year. I think part of that though was just you've got a really good running back who's really durable, and you're going to ride him as far as you kind of could. So, but yeah, no, I think that UCLA game. I mean, I think that was a pretty well called game. I think given the circumstances. And TJ Lateef, to his credit, really went out there and executed, I think, what Nebraska was asking him to do.
I guess on that same question, just on the opposite side of the ball, obviously new defensive coordinator, all that sort of stuff, BRUNTZ. But was there a game last year where you can say there were individual players that showcased what you think the identity of this year's team will be, sans the scheme and everything else? Was there a game or moment that sticks out to you about what you feel the, I guess, type and I don't even know, like the attitude of what this team could be going into 2026 is under Orich?
Yeah, I don't know how much carryover there is. I'm interested to see how that works. But I mean, last year, I mean, if you're pointing to a game where Nebraska was, for the most part, pretty dialed in on that side of the ball. I mean, I thought USC, coming into Lincoln and the way that Nebraska was able to kind of manage their passing attack, I thought was a pretty to make that happen. That was, when you look at USC's numbers from last year, I mean, that game itself is a huge outlier for how much they struggled But, overall, I mean, it's tough with the defense because the way that Nebraska limped into the clubhouse in November, what are they going to bring along? I don't know. I mean, I think that's why you've got a new coordinator, why you've got new assistant coaches that are there with that coordinator is to kind of, take whatever attitude you can from last year and really kind of shake things up. I mean, the part of the secret sauce of Rob Orich is that he's able to flip things pretty quick, and he's been able to do that at multiple stops. So, I mean, I think, kind of getting guys playing confident again is going to be really important. I mean, I think there's guys that are key pieces of this defense that had years last year that, they just kind of needed some good things to happen. And I think that's going to be part of the work that Orich and those coaches have to do this season and going into 2026 is not only just schematic, technique, all that stuff, but you just need guys kind of playing with their hair on fire a little bit. And I think it's easier to do that on defense too. I mean, think about, the way that Tony White came in and really kind of shook things up his first year. I mean, that was very notable and different with the way that Nebraska was playing. Bo Pelini back when he was a defensive coordinator in 2003. I mean, that was, there were scheme pieces there that were certainly unique, but I think he just got guys to buy in and play hard. And I think kind of getting back to that and getting more consistency with that is going to be really important defensively for them this year rather than, maybe a scheme thing or something like that.
That's Michael BRUNTZ, Husker 24/7. BRUNTZ, I know you got to get over to media days. We appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, BRUNTZ.
That is Michael BRUNTZ, Husker 24/7. Let's take a quick break here. We'll get right back into it. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
That experience was crazy, but it really worked out pretty easy here to choose Nebraska. Like it was definitely a tough decision moving out here far away from home. But it was great. I mean, I got married in the end of May, and so it was a crazy part of my life for sure, but it was also an awesome part. I think what drew me here was, every piece that I was trying to look for, team, chemistry, play style, coaching staff, everything like that. Like everything here in Nebraska is fantastic. And so that was really easy to just be blown away on that aspect. And so, yeah, just going through everything in the process of the portal, checking things off and making sure that I was making the right decision for me, but also for my wife. And so it worked out great, and we're super happy to be here.
It's time to sizzle into summer at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Turn up the heat on your next lease. This July, the savings are as hot as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at $449 a month. Don't wait. Sizzle into summer this July at Edwards Kia. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Kia.
Everyone's talking about peptides. You are doing it right. At NextGen Male Medical Clinic, peptide treatments are clinician guided, tailored to your goals, monitored for safety. Call today or visit nextgenmmc.com.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Ultimately conceptual. We'll refer to the past and we'll look back on exactly what we were and how we've done it at other places. But at the same point in time, just understand that I understand, the gravity of exactly where we're at and just how good these coaches are, just how good these players are, just how tough these venues are to play in. I get all that, right? And for me, it's got to be about the foundational elements that we bring to this program that I think travel regardless of the level you're at. All right. I understand, what we're walking into. And I know that not only me, but our players also look forward to having an opportunity to represent UCLA on this national stage within the best conference in America.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ, reminding you to give our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical a call, 402-614-9700. Whether you're trying to lose a little weight, maybe you need a little pep in your step, maybe you're like DB and you're, thinking you can run 30 miles an hour to catch up with a car and you want to see if you can do it, you're definitely going to need some help. Next Gen has you covered. 402-614-9700. Not just for men either. They also help out women with hormone replacement and anything else. They'll listen to you. It's not just a come in, get prescribed testosterone, get out. They will listen to you. They will help you find what's best for what you want and what you need to feel your best. Give them a call, 402-614-9700. It's Next Gen Male Medical.
Can they help you land a plane?
They'll probably help you focus up. The actual landing of the plane, I think, is going to be on you. And I don't like our chances. I think we decided in the break here, Rico would be overconfident and eat it for sure.
How dare you?
You would be about to land it, and then you'd crash it for the bit.
Yep. It'd be more fun that way.
Rico would be like, do a barrel roll. And you'd be like,
no, you have to say it right. Do a barrel roll.
Why is that?
Where's that from?
Why is that the right way to say
Star
it?
Fox.
No one.
Okay.
Okay.
Nerd. How much? Listen, I'm gonna ask a question.
You got me.
Do you want to do a dollar bet right now?
Sure.
Without me asking the question, you want to do a dollar bet?
Yeah.
All right. Shane, did you understand that reference?
I did not.
Wait, so who won which dollar? Okay.
I knew exactly what it is.
Those are grants. You wouldn't understand. You're not one of us.
I'm not one of the producers. I don't understand.
What was it? Do it again. What was it?
Do a barrel.
Do a barrel roll.
Well, what is that off of?
Starfire. He just said it.
Shane, once again, not listening to the show.
The other day, they had brought cookies into the office, and so the entire conglomerate of Hurrdat Sports went upstairs to find the cookies.
Yeah.
And they were white chocolate and chocolate chip cookies. And I took one, and I showed it to Rico, and I was like, look, it's us.
And then Joel walked by, and he goes, look, it's all of us.
Good stuff there from BRUNTZ. We appreciate him joining us.
Good stuff from everybody.
Yeah, no, it's been a good show today. I did want to get to something that we didn't get to yesterday. And that was part of the reason I asked BRUNTZ about whether he thought Rhule would get a Raiola or an Ekeler question, because I was actually kind of surprised. Now it was from a Nebraska media member, our friends over at NCN News Channel Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And so that makes it less surprising. But I think it was the very first question Lincoln Riley got from the crowd was a Mike Ekeler question. And I think we've got the clip. Yes. If we can play it real quick here. All credit to News Channel Nebraska.
His energy, his attention to detail, I think his emphasis on the fundamentals and how he teaches that is very unique. And it was just something that fit for our program. It fit from our special teams. It fit from him also being involved, certainly in coaching our linebackers. And I think it was a huge addition for us. I mean, the special teams are certainly, obviously, a huge part of any championship team. And with the roster we've built, we feel like we have a chance to be very, very good there across the board. And a guy like that, I think, makes you better the day that he walked in the door. And we've certainly felt that energy, that excitement, and his expertise up to this point.
So the Mike Ekeler question is kind of interesting as it pertains to Nebraska, right? I think it's pretty obvious based on kind of how things played out. Like, Nebraska offered him an extension. He wanted either, I don't know if it was more money. It sounded like more responsibility. He wanted to also coach linebackers, which he's getting that opportunity at USC, obviously. But there was obviously a disconnect on what Ekeler wanted his role to be here versus what Coach Rhule wanted his role to be here. And so, we heard the term alignment quite a bit over the course of the first couple days. And normally they're talking about president, AD, head coach, but it's also really important within the coaching staff, as DB has talked about quite a bit, including today, about having sort of alignment within the coaching staff and having the right guys in the building. Now, to that point, Lincoln Riley's right in the sense that Nebraska's special teams got better the minute Mike Ekeler walked in the door. They also still were not good enough, right? Like, and I know you've got a bunch of punting stats from Archie Wilson that we brought up earlier in this week. And if you still have them, and we can kind of go through them a little bit here, like, Nebraska's biggest advantage of Mike Ekeler coming last year was it basically shored up all the disastrous mistakes, right? Like, they stopped giving games away on special teams, which is a huge deal. And I am not discounting that whatsoever. I also think he's got some pretty good concepts. He's got a really good history of having successful special teams, right? But there were also a bunch of areas where Nebraska wasn't very good in special teams last year, particularly in punting, right? Under 40 yards per punt, gross, like average, not even net. Not great starting field position. It just was a thing where you go, okay, you stopped losing games on special teams. But I think when Nebraska hired Mike Ekeler, and I think when USC hires Mike Ekeler, they assume I think we wanted that to be a place where you could actually win some games, not just not lose them. And we really didn't see that.
Yeah. And so there was a couple of these punting stats that are very interesting to go through. So what I did, and again, we touched on this a little bit ago last week or so with you and Damon. There were 37 total punts from Archie Wilson in 2025. I broke it down with the average starting punt position of the punt, the average punt yardage, which you can look up pretty easily, and then where the opponent's average starting drive position was following a punt. So this took in all of those punts, and then also just some specific stats and some interesting things that were here and there. One thing that I wanted to make sure that we got this cleared up, the average punt, if Nebraska was punting inside of opponent's territory, a punt that went from Wilson that continued into opponent's territory only had 4 of those chances. All 4 of those ended as inside of the 20. So he did his positive. Yes. So he did his job in that sense. What was very interesting is that the average starting punt position for Nebraska was at their 34, and the opponent average starting drive position was at the opponent's 26. Now, when you look at that, you say, okay, about a 40-yard punt, that's pretty good. And you would say, technically, yeah, that's pretty good flipping the field. You go from just shy of your 35, you were putting them in close to about inside their 25. My argument with this, though, and I think that this is maybe where some arguments could arise in coaching matters, and this is another big part, too. Nebraska only allowed 4 yards per return last season on special teams, which, again, much better, much improved, all that stuff. But they also had a lot more chances, I think, to take chances with their punts, especially if Archie Wilson is as talented a punter as we were told to believe last preseason, that they could have pinned their opponents a little bit deeper and had maybe some better punts. Now, I'm not going to discredit and say that every single Archie Wilson punt was perfect. There were a couple of times that he was going out of bounds and hitting 20-yard punts that didn't end up on the right side of the field for Nebraska in pinning their opponents. But when you average 40 yards per punt, I think you're leaving a lot of meat on that bone where you could put an offense that you're facing even further back into their own, depth. So that way you're putting them at a bigger disadvantage. They have to take more plays. It takes more opportunity for them to get down the field. And again, I understand 74 yards is a long way to go, but 84 yards is a long way to play. And your play calling changes when you are backed up inside of your own 10. These are all things that you can be more aggressive on in your special teams. Now,
if you trust your coverage.
Exactly. And I think that they really did trust their coverage, and maybe it was a lack of trust in the punter. Maybe this was the scheme of it all. From looking at it punt by punt, I think that this was more of a scheme that they decided to go with and say, we are not going to allow big returns on punts. Our coverage will be sound, but we're also not going to take chances of sending balls into the end zone for touchbacks. We would rather have them play in front of us and not give up any return yardage and force fair catches and maybe mistakes that way, rather than try to flip the field completely and pin people down inside of their own 5.
Basically the punting equivalent of the kickoff, where you kick it really high in the air, you either force them to fair catch at the 30 or whatever to ensure you're not getting a return, right? Like that's sort of what we're talking about here.
So there were a couple of punts specifically that are very interesting, that obviously all these are a little bit different. I didn't go through the film and track it that way, so I can't tell you if there was a shank off of his foot or any of that sort of stuff. One that was very significant and interesting to me, here's a few of what I'm talking about. The Michigan State game. Punted from Nebraska's 44-yard line, and it was down to the Michigan State 30. No return.
Horrifying.
Not great, right?
That ball,
if you're punting from your 44,
has to be inside the 20.
You have to flip the field.
Has to be inside the 20.
Nebraska punted from their own 42. It went out of bounds at the Michigan State 40.
18-yard punt.
Yeah, not great.
Horrifying. That has to be inside their 20.
Here's another one. And again, this is, in terms of when you see and hear the stat for the first time, because I made this mistake. That you hear and see it, and you're like, that's actually not that bad. But when you do think about it in terms of the actual game, it's much different. Punting from Michigan State's 42, downed at the Michigan State 12. How different is your offensive play calling from your own 12 to your 2?
Yeah. And listen, I get that's a big ask.
Yeah.
I do. I get it's a big ask to be able to consistently get it inside the 5-yard line, right? But there is a huge difference if you're able to do it, right? If you're able to get people, like you said, calling plays at the 18 versus the 6 is hugely different, right?
And not only that, those were home games.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about games that Nebraska had their home crowd. How much more amped does Memorial Stadium get when the ball gets pinned inside of the 5 and you know that the crowd can make a difference because any false start backs them up even closer to their own end zone? I mean, you can make more mistakes the closer they are to their own goal line.
Also, how deflating is it? You drive, you get to the 42-yard line, you kick it, you're like, okay, at the very least, we're going to pin them deep, give our defense a chance to be in a good position. Michigan State starts with the ball at their own 40. Like, that's a horrifying result there, right? And that happened a couple times in that game, and that happened several times kind of throughout the season. And to your point, where you kind of look at this and you go, this isn't something that helps you win games. Again, maybe doesn't actively lose you games by missing snaps or muffing punts or whatever. But when we talk about hidden yardage and leaky yardage and things like that, when Nebraska's losing to Michigan by 3 and USC by 4 and whatever else, right? Yes, there was some blowouts at the end of the season. I understand that. But when your margin is that small within some of your wins and losses, I mean, it's a 3-point win against Cincinnati, right? There's some close games in there where it's not always the disastrous play that loses it for you. And I'm glad that got cleaned up last year, but there is another step forward. And maybe Ekeler would have taken that step this year. I don't know, right? We aren't going to get that opportunity. What I do know is if you look at Ekeler's history, he doesn't stay anywhere very long. He just doesn't. Go look through. I mean,
Tennessee was a longer tenure before he came to Nebraska.
I still think it was only like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like he's pretty. I mean, I'll bring it up right now. I've done this. I've looked at this before. There's not very many places he stayed more than a couple years. Like he gets in, gets out, and yeah, he was at Tennessee for 3 years, North Texas for 1, Kansas for 1, North Carolina for 2, North Texas for 1, Georgia for 2, USC for 1, Indiana for 2. Nebraska for 3, LSU as a GA for 3, Oklahoma as a GA for 2. Like Tennessee is literally his longest tenure. It's just he's a guy that doesn't stay anywhere very long. And so you do wonder about his alignment within his coaching staff a lot of the times. And we forget that he didn't have a contract extension at Tennessee when he came to Nebraska. Maybe he would have got one. I don't know, but he didn't have one, right? He was available. And so I just think it's really, really interesting. And that's not to say he's not a great special teams coordinator, because he clearly is. They've been successful everywhere he's done this. And I would argue he's a good linebacker coach too. We saw it in Nebraska when he was here back 08 to 10. We've seen it at a bunch of different stops where he's been a good linebacker coach. I just sit here and I go, okay, if we're focusing on alignment so much within both the university, the athletic department, and the coaching staff, how much more valuable is it to have let's say a really good coach that doesn't align with how the head coach wants to do things, or even just personality wise, maybe doesn't fit the roster and the room, versus a coach that maybe isn't as heralded. We really don't know anything about Brett Maher as a special teams coordinator, but is lockstep in line with what the head coach and what the program wants to be. Because that's really what we're talking about with like Rob Orich on defense, right? Rob Orich, the Corey Brown, like Lonnie Teasley, Jeep Wade, Roy Manning, like all these guys that got brought in. But especially with Rob Orich and the defense, and that kind of filters down to the players on defense as well, is we're all just saying like, hey, can we get all on the same page? Can we get all on the same page defensively that this is what we want to do? Everybody knows what their job is, because that to me was the big question mark last year. I was famously very high on the defensive line last year. I liked a lot of their pieces. It didn't work out that way. I don't think it's because none of those guys are talented. I think none of them knew what they were supposed to do at any given time. And hesitancy makes everybody look like a bad athlete. Everybody. I don't care whoever you think the best athlete of all time is, pick a guy, pick any guy. I know you guys give me a hard time. I'll be like, well, what about Bo Jackson? Sure, pick Bo Jackson. If Bo Jackson looks hesitant, he doesn't look like as good of an athlete, right? If Michael Vick is hesitant, that guy doesn't look like as good of an athlete anymore. Like when you put doubt into someone's mind, that will make you look unathletic faster than anything outside of like an injury where you're actually physically hampered.
Right.
And I think Nebraska was hammered with doubt in their minds about what they were supposed to do on the defensive line, especially. And that filtered its way down. That's why we're sitting there and be like, linebacker didn't fill, secondary safety didn't get into the run fit. Like, yes, that's part of it. Their jobs were also made harder because the defensive line wasn't confident in what they were supposed to be doing on a pretty consistent basis.
Okay, so going back to the Ekeler part of this, right? Everything that you said about everyone kind of going in the same direction, I'm trying not to use a row the boat reference. I'm doing my best. No, we were going to make it an Odyssey reference, right? Would have taken maybe even longer to get home if they weren't rowing the same way. Legitimately, though, I think that there is something. The way that rule came about, and again, this is coming from me, is not coming from inside sources or anything like that. This is just me, my opinion, how I've been reading tea leaves and when I listen to Rhule talk and all that other stuff, right? I think that there is something very significant to say about the way everyone saw it from the very beginning when he did Husker Radio Network updates and everything. And people, Kyle Crooks legitimately straight up asked him on Sports Nightlies, asked Rhule, what's going on with Mike Ekeler? And he laid it out plainly and simply. He just said directly, this is exactly what's happening. We've offered him a contract. He has not accepted the contract. We are waiting to hear back from him. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's basically what he said. I think that there is something to say that when you are Matt Rhule, Damon touched on this earlier, every part of your ship has to be going in the same direction. Every single part. Because we're past the point, like you had made a great point earlier, of accommodating for historical facts or historians or fans of the program. We are trying to win. And I credit Rhule with this so much, is that with all the doubters and everyone else that's around him and all the people online that want to say something, whether they're from Nebraska's fan base or otherwise, I think that there is something to say about Rhule standing 10 toes down and saying, I am the guy who is going to get us out of this. I am the guy. I believe in my path. I believe in the path that I am leading. Other people will tell you, why did you do this? Why are these hires being made? Why did you bring in this guy? All that. Why was Mike Ekeler allowed to leave? Why did all this stuff happen? If you don't believe that someone is rowing your boat in the same direction that you want it to go, you will go in circles forever.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I was thinking about this morning, and maybe this doesn't apply to Mike Ekeler necessarily, but our biggest frustration with Frost for so long was that we just kept going in circles. It never got better, but it really didn't get worse. And they just kept hitting 4 wins and 5 wins, and we never got to a bowl game. Okay, so what do we do differently? Okay, so I'll get rid of this offensive coordinator. I'll hire different offensive analyst. Oh, okay, right. So I gotta fire the defensive guy. You're right. He was not the right move. We're gonna see if we can bring in these different guys, right? We don't need a special teams coach. Okay, maybe we do need to bring in someone for special teams. You're right. All that stuff, it was just circling because he made so many accommodations for right or wrong, whether it was going to go the wrong direction and go completely away from home or if you were on your way back. They never were on one path together as an entire program, unified, none of that. Whether this sinks or floats, I'll give credit where credit is due. At least they're all going one direction now. And I believe that he has a lot of guys in line on his coaching staff, on the roster, everybody. And you said it earlier, there's a reason this many players decided to come back to Nebraska, because they all believe in the direction the ship is going. I like to believe in that too. I think that that is a great way to go about it. I think that's why you follow a leader. That's why you go and you follow someone like Matt Rhule. And also notably too, Matt Rhule is going to press his coaches way more than he's going to press his players for higher expectations. He'll put expectations on players, but he is going to demand the most out of his coaching staff more than anybody else that's inside of the walls of that program. His assistant coaches will get the brunt of a lot of the things that he goes up about. That's one thing he said in the offseason as well, that he didn't like when assistant coaches or other coordinators were going after players saying that they weren't good enough. He wanted the coaches to make the players good enough. And I think that that's all something that you can relate back to this exact situation. Again, I want to be clear. I do not have any inside source of conversations that happen in there. This is just what I think is happening. After going through those punting stats and looking at some of the more inner details and what we're talking about here, I really do think that there may have been just a abrupt conversation between two people who said, what you did a year ago was great. We improved dramatically, but I want the next step. And how do we get there? And another person in that conversation may have said, I think what we're doing is good enough. And it may not have been good enough.
Or, hey, what we're doing, I think, is working. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And they probably wouldn't use the terms good enough,
Right.
right? But like, hey, my system works.
Yes.
It's worked everywhere I've
Look
gone.
how much we improved. And another person in that conversation said, look how much further it can go.
Yes. And I also think, and I think David said this in the chat, but it was something I wanted to bring up as well. You brought up a really good point with Rhule and just laying it out there pretty plainly. Like, Nebraska offered him an extension. Nebraska offered him to make him basically one of the couple highest paid special teams coordinators in the country. That's what Matt Rhule said. And I have no reason not to believe that isn't accurate. And Mike Ekeler didn't refute that, right? So I have no reason to believe that's not accurate. The thing that one of the things that I like the most about Rhule and the way that he goes about his business is this is a guy that wants to be here. We get enamored, and I've said this before, we get enamored with people that are from this place because we think they're one of us. And the people that are one of us are the people that actually want to be here. Mike Ekeler didn't want to be here, obviously, because he's not here. He had an extension on the table, be one of the highest paid special teams coordinators in the country, and he chose to be somewhere else, right? Scott Frost has talked numerous times about, well, I kind of had my arm twisted to get here, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted it. He didn't want to be here. And listen, that's fine. You don't have to want to be here, but if you don't want to be here, don't be here.
And take the Nebraska football part out of it too. It's the most non-Nebraskan thing ever, coming from the sticks to the cities to wherever you live in Nebraska. If we have to pay you to love to be here, we don't want you here.
You don't actually like to be here.
You're not from here.
You don't actually like to be
People
here.
that are from here that want to be here are here.
Yeah. I mean, Trev Alberts is a great example as well. Like, this has happened with a bunch of guys. I get Trev is from Iowa, but he played here. We felt like one of us, felt like he got it. He was working within the university system. And we're like, oh, we got our guy. He's one of us. He gets it. And then he's like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. And that's fine. That's your prerogative. But I don't have, those aren't the people we need to ride with, right? Like, if Nebraska is going to get back to where we want them to be, or even get back to a place they haven't been in a while since Bo Pelini, 8, 9, 10 wins, right? You have to get people that want to be here. We talk about that all the time with players, with the retention rate. You have to talk about it with coaches too. Guys that actually want to be here, and not just the head coach, because we talk about it with the head coach a little bit, but guys that actually want to be here, those are the guys that can make a difference. Because I guarantee you, that's one of the things PJ Fleck talked about with his retention rate and high school recruiting, and guys that want to be at Minnesota.
I mean, that's what he led off with. in his 10-minute spiel.
Yeah.
He said, head coach, they're the only team in the Big Ten. Head coach, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, quarterback, all back.
Yes. People want to be there, and that's part of the secret sauce. People that go to Iowa want to be at Iowa. That's part of their secret sauce.
Yeah, and that whole argument about all the recruitment stuff and yada yada about like, oh, how do you get kids to come from Florida to Iowa City? How do you get people to want to, recruit all the way down in the East Coast and then they come back to Lincoln? This is why.
And you
because it feels like home. That's why.
And you also you kind of just have to find, and this is why I give Cignetti the credit for being an elite talent evaluator, because it's not just about guys that can play. It's about guys that are wired a certain way. That's the big thing for me that I've over the last handful of years. This is why I was really big on Caleb Wilson over Darren Peterson, right? I love the way Caleb Wilson is wired. I will bet on that guy being successful because he is wired to just MF you all the way to the grave and take your soul while he's doing it. That's how that guy's wired. I will take my chances with everything else. That doesn't seem like how DP's wired, right? That if you can't find, that was the whole, it's not like the entire state of Florida just can't handle being at Nebraska. You were recruiting the wrong guys.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
It's not like the entire state of California is full of guys that can't handle cold weather. You were recruiting the wrong guys, right? Because you wanted the guy with the extra star next to his name instead of the guy that was wired in a way that he could actually be here. That's the thing that Iowa doesn't worry about. That's the thing that PJ Fleck in Minnesota hasn't worried about, that Nebraska for too long has worried about. And that's when
not anymore. They got their guys coming here.
Well, that's when
come on.
When DB's talking about hey, you got to do things your way and just live with the results. This is what I'm talking about. Kirk Ferentz is going to do things his way and he'll live with the results, right? PJ Fleck is going to do things his way and he'll live with the results. That's the part where you just have to say, hey, I'm 10 toes down. I want to be here. I'm going to get guys that want to be here. I'm going to get coaches that want to be here, and I will live with whatever that looks like. I don't care if you're a 3-star or a 5-star or anywhere in between. If you don't want to be here, go. The door's right there. Yep. Whatever other paychecks you have are out there are right there. That's fine. We're going to be competitive on salaries, whether it's players or coaches. We're going to be competitive on everything else. But if you still don't want to be here, please leave.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, has been one of the things that we don't talk about that Nebraska has bitten Nebraska. Even a guy like Bo Pelini, who was really successful here. Did it ever really felt like Bo loved being here?
Oh, man. That's a good question.
I think he loved his players. He loved his players.
I think he loved being inside. He did not love being in Nebraska, the state, with the people of Nebraska, but he loved being a football coach inside of the walls for Nebraska because that's where he was.
I think he loved his players.
Yeah.
I don't think
that's obvious. Yeah.
I don't think he loved being here. I don't think I think
you could have if you would have told Bo, you can take this and stay in Lincoln, or you could take this and you can move him anywhere. Where would you go? He goes, it doesn't matter where we play.
Yeah.
I'm taking this. We could just be no-name university and I would play with these guys. That's what he would do.
I think one of the biggest things that has bit Nebraska over the last 20 years is they've had too many guys, whether it's from president, looking at you, Ted Carter, AD, looking at you, Trev Alberts, head coach, looking at you, Scott Frost, assistants, looking at you, Mike Ekeler, players, looking at you, Dylan Raiola. Too many guys that don't actually want to be here.
And also, let's just keep going down this list. I mean, I want to keep it football, but at Nebraska, Will Bolt, baseball, wants to be here, cares about the program, cares about the state. It's important that it's Nebraska that he's coaching, right? Fred Hoiberg, there's a reason that he's at Nebraska.
Hoiberg's a great example because when Hoiberg got hired, there was a part of me that I wasn't sure if he actually wanted to be here or if he was just I want to get back into coaching. I was good at Iowa State, whatever. Everybody made a lot about his grandpa coached at Nebraska and whatever. And
but how many times he could have cut bail and left?
So that's the thing is he went through it.
Yes.
And it would have been really easy for a guy that has plenty of money and has been really good at this.
And also would have gotten another job, by the way.
Could have gone, and he's been an analyst before, could have been an assistant GM. It would have been
fine.
He
was an NBA coach. Someone's going to hire him.
Yeah, he's a guy, even if it's not as a head coach, he would have gotten another job if he wanted one, right?
Yes.
And probably didn't need one if he didn't want one. It would have been really, really easy for that guy to say, and a guy that's had health conditions, had an easy out. Right? A guy that's had legitimate problems with his health could have been man, this is too hard on me physically. I need to go. Right? And nobody would have blamed him. That guy clearly wants to be here.
Yep.
Like, he has proved it over and over and over again. That guy clearly wants to be here. And guess what? You know, when the basketball program turned around, when he started finding players that also wanted to be here and also wanted to be part of the University of Nebraska, right? Like, Jamarcus Lawrence is maybe the best example. He was here.
He still wants to be here.
Maybe he didn't want to be here the first time, thought he could do better, leaves, comes back. I mean, there's a little Danny Kaelin there, right? Leaves, comes back. It's like, oh, man, no, I love this place. This is where I need to be, right? Guys, the entire program turned around when he found guys that wanted to be here. If you can, like, get it down to just that, I think Nebraska football will be just fine.
And again, I've said it before too, but we've talked about the coaches, the adults that are in the room. Last year and many different times, even throughout this offseason, I have seen it so many times. I think that the players in the locker room for Nebraska football want what Rhule wants to. They want to be here. Ja'Cory Barney is not tucking tail and running home to Florida.
How many times have we been worried about that? How many times have we been
could have
worried
entered
about
the
that?
portal. Cam Lenhart has not left. Other guys that have left, have you noticed that other guys that have left either obviously went down? That's a different conversation for transfer portal. But there's notably one big name that a lot of people seem to continue to point to in Princewell that's like, hey, this guy left. Where did he go? He's moving on to another team after he was just at a team. He keeps moving on. Now he's being sued for it too. But completely different. I mean, like, what are we talking about? The guys that are here want to be here all the way down from the head coach at the top down to the walk-ons, or not walk-ons, but all the guys that are on the roster, right? The practice guys, the guys who are going to get 5 years to be at Nebraska are willing to stay for another 5 to be with Rhule. From the top end players that are going to be first team all Big Ten and, you know, trying to vibe for All-American status to the guys who are just hoping by their 5th year that they get to walk on the field with a rose in their hand and get a hug from Matt Rhule. All of those guys are trying to make sure that they are here at this moment and want to be here and want to do it, not just for them, not for glory in college football, but because it's Nebraska. They want to do it for Nebraska. That means something more. It gives you a reason to play, right? It gives you more than just this personal lift or just saying, oh, we're going to do it just because, you know, we're the best or whatever. Great college football programs have that, right? But this is why Ohio State and Michigan hate each other solely, no matter what mercenaries they bring in, whether it's Will Howard or 5-star recruits from God knows where. Those two schools hate each other so much, and it means something to beat each other. And they instill it day one from the minute they get in. Probably even before day -500. When they commit, they're already told no M's in your house, no O's, all that sort of stuff, right? Nebraska has that with their roster, but it's reversed. It's not built on hate. It's built on appreciation, and it's built on love and respect for the people that fill up the stadium every single time. And we always make this huge guild about, as a fan base, oh, well, the players don't appreciate and respect us for spending our money. The first damn thing that Rhule said when he came here was, I want people, the farmers who spend their money, to come in to feel appreciated with the fact that their football team is going out there and giving them something, whether it be wins, whether it be effort and attitude, whatever. They have that now. They have that in the roster. I really hope that it shows in wins and losses this year. Who knows what the season can bring? Literally anything can happen. We don't know. We'll find out by December when we're revisiting some of these conversations and such. But I feel like this should be the team that the state can finally rally around, because you've got, from top to bottom, everybody wants to do it for the people that get inside of the stadium and listen and watch from beyond.
It's one of the reasons I asked Brian Edwards the question I did about, does Florida want it to look a certain way? Because Wisconsin wants it to look a certain way. And I think sometimes we think that means, well, you have to run a certain offense or a certain defense or whatever. I think Nebraskans want it to look a certain way, but I don't think it's a, hey, we got to run the triple option or anything like that. I think it's a, we want to be a physical football team, which, hey, if any football coach comes in here and doesn't want to win in the trenches, like, you can go. Like, that's that they're not going to be successful anywhere, right? So, like, I don't think that's a thing that you have to pander to. It's like, hey, we want a physical football team. All right, let's go win the trenches. No brainer. We're good there. You want incredible effort. You show me any football coach that doesn't want incredible effort, then again, they can see the door. Like, that's like, Nebraska fans don't want anything that is an unreasonable ask from their football team. And they want them to represent the state well. And that's where the wanting to be here thing comes. And I will tell you, I have spent way too long over the last 2 decades watching Nebraska get their ass kicked by teams, and sometimes literally get their ass kicked by teams that I genuinely believe were top to bottom less talented, because they had dudes that wanted to be there, gave incredible effort, and were 100% aligned with what their coaches wanted from them. Nebraska has been losing to the Iowas, Minnesotas, Northwesterns, Wisconsin's
Illinois.
Illinois is a great example. Bielema. There's a reason I really love Brett Bielema. He's great at this.
Yep.
Kirk Ferentz, hate Iowa, but he's great at this. PJ Fleck, however you feel about him, his personality, he's great at that. All of these guys,
even legendary Bill Snyder or Kansas State, you can go that side. I mean, yeah,
like they are the teams that have consistently beat Nebraska in the Big Ten that aren't clearly just better. You know, the Ohio States of the world and teams like that are the teams that are doing the things that I'm talking about here, where it's just like the guys want to be there. You're going to play your ass off and you're going to be a super physical football team. Like if Nebraska can find that, I don't really care what, like, yes, I love that the 2027 recruiting class is loaded, right? But God, I hope all those guys are wired like this. Because if they're not,
I think they're showing us that they are.
I agree. But if they're not, flush the star rankings down the toilet. I have no interest anymore, right? Give me the Caleb Wilsons of the world, not the Darren Petersons, right? And that's, who knows? Darren Peterson might end up being a good NBA player. I don't think so, but whatever. Like, but
I'm great example. He wasn't committed to the cause.
But I'm not going to.
I mean, Kansas basketball is an institution. It's religion. And he couldn't become a part of it. He couldn't buy in sitting in the greatest venue in college basketball.
And I'm not rolling my dice with that. I'll take my chances over here with Caleb Wilson, who I know is just going to play his ass off. And wants to kill people. Like, that's, and I get they were both 5 stars coming out. I get it, whatever. But like, that's why it's important to not just look at where guys are rated, but how guys are wired. Give me my Caleb Wilsons all day and I will take my chances. That's why, like, I think Anthony Calandri is a dog. Like, that dude's a gamer. I think he's got a little Diego Pavia in him, like, in terms of just like that edge and that whatever.
And again, you want to talk about a guy in like the Fred Hoiberg scenario that in the example we used earlier. You get told that you're not the number one option. He could have said, I don't need you. I don't want to be there. Right. You could say, I wanted to go to Nebraska. I liked what we were doing. I like that you came back to me. I like this attention, but you didn't want me first. You picked someone else very publicly and you lost. You lost your prom date. Now you're asking me. And he still wanted to be a part of it. Not only that, he's ultra committed to it.
I think it's a lot simpler sometimes than we make it out to be. Now, again, DB and I have done this a lot. The simple is not always easy, right? Pretty simple path, pretty hard to do. That's why not everybody's Kurt Cignetti. His ability to find guys that can play physically the way he needs them to and are wired the way he needs them to be is, I think, unmatched in all of college football. I would argue that was one of the things that superpowered Saban's early dynasty at Alabama, like, was Cignetti's ability to realize that. It's why Saban didn't want to let him go. That is a really difficult skill to have down, but it's a non-negotiable to find guys that really want to be there. You can't be begging people. Like, the girl that you have to beg to go out with you and finally says yes, like, that relationship's not going to last, man. It's just not. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to go the way you want it to.
Jeez, and now I'm hoping that I'm the one. Ooh, it's tough. We're not bringing that story up.
I think there are other factors there with you and Dr. Fiance, but we'll get to that in marriage counseling. It's fine. Pre-marriage counseling.
Pre-marriage counseling. Thank you. No, okay, so just to... because I know Shane is getting antsy. Just to make this the Mike Ekeler of it all, because we got off on a tangent, but it's all the same thing.
I think
right?
it all ties back to the same thing.
And I know that, again, like, I hate saying it this way, but it feels like the right answer and the reason why he left was to go to USC because he wanted more responsibilities and duties. And you know what? That is true. I'll give him that. That is true. All that sort of stuff. But I think that there's also a part of it that's, when you get into those offseason conversations and you start to realize, like, listen, we can improve better. There are pieces of this statistical data that we can go through and we can say, hey, game feel, game flow, all that sort of stuff when it comes to the special teams. And also, your added responsibility may not be what the vision I have for what this program needs right now. And giving that to you may not be what's in the best interest for us.
Well, and I think you can sum it up like this, right? Yes, he wanted to coach linebackers. That is theoretically why he left. Okay, sure. But it's a great microcosm of him. What he wanted and his agenda was more important to him than what the University of Nebraska wanted and needed, right? That's what you can't have, because it's not like he wasn't going to be compensated well enough. That was clearly on the table for him to be compensated basically as well as anybody in the country for what he does.
Yep.
And so to sit there and say, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with the players too, right? I think you can make an argument there's been a lot of players over the course of this time at Nebraska that were more interested about what Nebraska could do for them. And listen, I understand you have personal goals. That's okay. But it's like what DB was talking about. When you can root for others, sometimes at your own expense, that's where the magic happens. When you can put your personal goals and agenda aside for the greater good, guess what? You know why NFL teams draft so many guys from winning programs? Because that's what you have to do at every level of football. You have to put your own stuff aside at some point. You don't think that, like, at some point early in his career, Tom Brady wasn't like, hey, I can throw more than this. I'm pretty good. We don't have to game manager this thing. Like, I don't think I'm almost positive this is correct. Tom Brady didn't throw 30 passes in a season until Randy Moss showed up.
30 touchdown passes?
30 touchdown passes in a season until Randy Moss showed up.
And then he hit 50.
Yeah, and then he just blows everything out of the water, right? But, like, that's a pretty long stretch of his career. I think that's 6 or 7 years into his career where he'd won 3 Super Bowls at that point, by the way, and wasn't given the reins to the offense yet, right? Like, you don't think there was someplace else that Tom Brady that'd be like, yeah, let loose, bud, go crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
And then later in his career, he takes pay cuts to stay with and eventually he moves on. I get that. But he restructured after restructure after restructure to stay with the team and continue to do what was, and that's the greatest quarterback of all time. Right? If he can do it, then Mike Ekeler could do it if he wanted to.
If he wanted to, right?
Dylan Raiola could have done it if he wanted to. Anthony Calandria can do it if he wants to. That's the big difference. Is listen, I'm all for personal growth and goals and everything like that. But if you can't work towards the greater good, then you just don't have a place here.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's the show for today. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. I believe DB will be back tomorrow as long as the flights work out and everything.
I believe.
I don't know what that is.
That was from Shrek.
Oh.
Yeah, the end.
I thought we were going to do like, I believe that we will win.
No, I'm not about that. It's my least favorite chance.
All right, well.
Yeah. That's tacky, corny. Everybody does it. So it's unique.
Tough look from Austin Jacobsen today to end the show.
I thought we just had a great discussion.
Hey, Austin, I'm with you. That chant sucks.
Thank you.
What's your favorite chant?
Mine's a Sydney chant, so I'm not going to do it.
I thought it was do the barrel roll.
I lost $1 because of you.
It's do a barrel roll, but it's okay.
Oh, whatever.
I thought for Rico was do the do. Get that diesel.
Mine's do a flip. Do a flip. That's the real one.
That's the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow. That's Austin and Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.